So I think we're going live now, and I'll just kind of wait for people to roll in as we continue the little discussion we were having before. So for those that are going to be coming into this discussion, we will be talking about Smash Brothers, Pokemon, and a whole bunch of other really cool stuff. You can see the outline right here in the footage. So we'll be getting to that, but I really want to talk about something really quickly. So, like, as I was saying, I actually feel like Bloodborne, which is, you know, kind of like in the Dark Souls line of games, I feel like it is a combination of Mario Galaxy, Resident Evil, and Zelda. And let me explain why I think it's related to Galaxy. So, like, when you go to the church is like this little hub world. I realize that the church is like a little hub world, and every tombstone is like a different, like, launching pad to a different galaxy. Like, whenever you click a tombstone, you go to a different galaxy. That's the analogy I'm drawing. Like, just the way the worlds are organized in Bloodborne, it reminds me of a similar like style as Mario Galaxy. So, yeah. I know you didn't really expect that, right? It's kind of weird.
I have never played Bloodborne, so when you said that, I was like, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
Yeah.
Mario Galaxy and Zelda, like what in Bloodborne, like what?
Yeah,
I can see it.
But it makes sense when you explain it. Go on.
There are some better comparisons, but yeah, I can see what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Zelda and Resident Evil comparisons are pretty obvious. So.
Oh yeah.
But
to see how many people we can just scoop in before we start the real deal. But,
yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. So, why don't we just get started with? Well, I guess I should just introduce everyone. So, for those who are new to the discussion, you or if you're returning, you know who Brandon from What About Nintendo is, and you know Will from the Deity. But Brandon brought his friend who apparently knows a lot about Nintendo and is a pretty cool dude. His name is Pedro. How you doing, man?
Hello there. I'm Pedro. I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for coming, bro.
No problem.
Yeah. So we have a fair amount to talk about, and I guess we should just get started. So the first thing, well, for the record, we actually tried to do this yesterday, but I had a number of technical difficulties, so I had to cancel it midway through. So we're going to try to run through most of the other topics of the week, and hopefully most of the discussion is going to be about Smash Brothers, because we're all really hyped about that. So, first topic. Outlast apparently was ported in just a few weeks. The developer is saying it was really easy to get the game running on the Switch. It got it done in just a few weeks, and it was running comparably. Like it was. Okay, my tongue got tied up, but like the game is very comparable to like the Sony and Microsoft platforms as well. And they only ported it over in a few weeks, and it runs well. It's not glitchy at all. So it's just kind of like a testament to how good of a platform the Switch is, I think, because developers are having a great time with bringing games over very easily. What do you guys have to say to that?
Definitely. Like yesterday, we did come to that conclusion where it just goes to show you that like the way Nintendo treats the Switch is around day.
Well, I'm having trouble hearing you. It sounds very glitchy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having the same issue here. So
yeah, it's kind of random. Yeah. Yeah. For whatever reason, you sound really weird right now. But I mean, I know what you're trying to say. I'm pretty sure you agree. What do you have to say to that? To this whole sort of Outlast situation, Pedro?
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool that stuff's getting developed quickly for the Switch. Like, it's pretty great to have, like, stuff actually coming for it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I was just, like, not paying attention much last year, but, like, it felt like there wasn't much happening at all last year, and then this year we got a lot more coming a lot more quickly. And
yeah, I mean the announcements just keep on coming. There's many announcements every day, and like on the eShop, when you check the eShop, there's just so many games there. Like it's crazy. I mean, some of those games are I don't want to call them shovelware, but there's a lot of smaller games, a lot of indie games. You know,
indie stuff.
It's insane.
Yeah, pretty cool how that there's like a lot more of it now.
For sure.
That's actually like, I mean, some of the stuff I had before, like never really had any interest in, but like they're making newer stuff that like actually catches my eye. So, shout out to them.
Yeah, for sure.
But indies are more prevalent. Hopefully, my voice is better.
It's not. It's a little better. Yeah, you still sound a little robotic, but you're at least I can tell what you're saying now. So weird. Like the discussion was going so well right before we went live. Yeah, like we just lost Brandon too. He went out for a second. It just, I don't know. I know they'll come back in a moment, so I'll just kind of continue, where we're with this discussion here. But I mean, yeah, like we're getting a lot of ports, and just the idea that Outlast was done so quickly and well, pretty awesome. So, anyways, quick shout outs to Tiny Tails, Cosmic Wolf, and Madi, Green HX. Yeah, Scizor for Smash. You know what? If there's a fighter that could become like a Pokemon that could become another fighter in Smash, I think Scizor is not a bad choice for sure. I mean, he's really good in Pokken, so I'd be down. I'd be down with that for sure. So let's just kind of move on to the next topic. Hopefully, Will and Brandon return, but there's some information out there suggesting that Fortnite may be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, what's interesting about this is that a version of Fortnite came out for mobile not too long ago, and it's like the good version, like the multiplayer version, the Battle Royale version. That's what people are really hyped about. So, like there's been some Twitter exchanges, and there's a lot of talk about Fortnite coming to the Switch. The creative designers, they want Fortnite to come to the Switch. And, it just seems like if it can be on mobile, why can't it be on Switch, right? And I think this is a game that's going to fit really well. I mean, for those who want to get the PUBG experience but not as glitchy, Fortnite is that. And I think a lot of people will be really, really excited to see Fortnite come to Switch. What do you guys think about that? Well, I see you're back now. I don't know if hopefully things are connected well this time. Yep, you sound great. I can hear your voice, and it doesn't sound like a robot or an android.
Yeah, well, it's coming to mobile, so clearly they want it on everything they can get it on, and they've already commented multiple times on how they love the Switch, especially like the creator of the game and everything. And they're like the team over there, Epic Games. They are big fans of crossplay. And so is Nintendo. Like this eventually is going to happen since Fortnite is so big and the Switch. Their success, their massive successes. They've snowballed into crazy record-breaking territory. This is definitely going to end up happening.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just a matter of time, really. So, is there anything else we want to say to Fortnite coming to Switch aside from it being probably very likely and being a really good fit?
I think that really sums it up. Like, Fortnite would be excellent on the Switch, and it should be on the Switch. And it's very likely that it's going to happen. I think so.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement right now. So, let's move on to the next topic. All right. Hey, son, go on. How you doing, man? So, let's talk about Bayonetta 3 for a little bit. So, Sega had this event, and the voice actress for Bayonetta was there, and she was interviewed, and she was asked about the status for Bayonetta 3, and basically she said that she hasn't been brought in to do any voice acting for Bayonetta 3 yet. She has no idea when they're going to bring her in either, and by her estimation, the game is really early in development. Now, we did technically sort of cover this yesterday, but a lot of that was really cut off because of the technical difficulties. But, Will, what do you have to say to that? Because I know you're really excited about Bayonetta 3, and some people are taking this news as pretty much clear-cut evidence that Bayonetta 3 won't be coming out anytime soon. What do you think?
Right. I did. If this is the English voice actress, which it probably is, since they haven't given her any type of lines yet, we did discuss this yesterday, in which we said typically with just anime dubs, but specifically video game dubs and stuff like that, and I brought up Kingdom Hearts 3, we literally don't have any, no English voice actor brought in to record for that game yet, and I pretty much made the point that they're gonna do that a month before the game drops. So
Yeah.
That could be the case. Right.
Yeah, they always do the dubbing for like anime's voice or the dubbing for video games and stuff like that. That's always like one of the last things that they do. So it's, I mean, I think that could be an indicator of like it being not being for a while, but it's also just that they won't be doing any voice things for a while either. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's not. I feel like it's basically almost non-news, but because people are talking about it, I'm bringing it up here, right? Because there's some people who do think. I don't think it means that Bayonetta 3 can't come out this year. For the record, I don't think Bayonetta 3 is coming out this year, but this news doesn't really speak to it it actually coming, because it only takes a few weeks to really act out a whole bunch of lines. They could invite her in like 3 or 4 months from now, and the game could still come out in October. So I don't really think it really tells us much. It is cool to hear from her, but I'm not.
Your voice kind of cut out.
Did it?
I don't know if that was on my end or. Oh, okay. Probably on my end.
Okay. It looks like Brandon is back. So, Brandon, what do you have to say to this whole Bayonetta thing? Because you were kind of out for a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. Somebody mistaked the router cord for a cooking pot cord.
I see.
Here. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
So, Brent, I'm going to let you speak about that for a moment. My cat is in my room. I need to get her out before she gets upset. So, cover for me.
Invasion of the cats. Everybody loves cats. But anyways, yeah, it's as I said yesterday for people who, didn't get to see that the technical difficulties.
Come on.
Just because she hasn't recorded lines doesn't mean the game won't come out this year, but it doesn't mean it will come out either. It doesn't really have much to say about it. I agree with Andres there. I mean, they hadn't recorded, when they showed off the Way Chronicles 2, it said it's coming out 2017. Nobody believed them. And one of the reasons was that they had recorded a lot of the English voice lines. And yet, that game came out exactly when they said 2017. It even came out earlier than I thought, coming out at the beginning of the month. I thought it would come out at the end of the month. I thought it would come out like, December 31st at like midnight, But no, it came out on time. So I think this doesn't really say much about it coming out. It doesn't mean it has to come out like 2019 or anything. Personally, I agree with Andres that it probably won't come out this year. But I don't think this means that.
Right. I feel like at best she knows a tiny bit more than like the average like gamer. I feel like this is mostly guesswork on her part, and I think she's open about that, which is like, this is just my estimation. I'm not saying this is 100% fact or anything, but you're begging for an answer from me, so I guess I'll give you what I think is wrong. To her, don't chastise her about it, I guess, because they probably just tried to pull whatever they could out of her about the game.
Yeah, that's the thing about interviews, right? Like, I pay a lot of attention to NBA basketball. That's like the only pro sport that I really follow. But I'm always hearing about different interviews, like quotes, like crazy quotes from NBA stars. And people like really, like, especially like with the media, they really attack those quotes. But what a lot of people fail to realize is that the people who are interviewing these stars are always asking them questions all the time. And they're always, like, trying to get them to ask, like, so if you ask someone something, you're kind of already, like, putting them in a box, right? And, like, if you take a line out of context, you can really, really attack someone here. So she probably was asked a question, and she just told her, they probably literally told her, oh, what do you think? Where do you think Bayonetta 3 is in development? And she said, oh, well, I think by my estimation, it's early in development. People like, oh, that's what she said. So I'm just saying that you should take these things with a grain of salt. If it's not coming from like someone who's like really experienced, grain of salt. So I think we all agree that this is essentially non-news. We've talked about this being non-news for about 5 minutes now. So I think we can move on. Maybe we'll see Bayonetta 3 at E3. I think there's a pretty good chance of that at least maybe a trailer or some sort of update. So, is there anything else you guys want to say to this topic before we move on, or are we good to go?
I know how eager you are for the final topic, so we're good.
Okay, cool. So, just a shout out to Sabbath64. And Lewis Kays, he actually said this. I hope this E3 only shows Switch games. They can show any 3DS games they have at the Treehouse event.
Yeah, that's why I'm a big fan.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Samus Returns. Yeah, exactly, Will.
The 3DS is just so irrelevant. We might mention it at the Treehouse, but that's it.
Right.
That's what
Right.
I want more of that.
And I felt like Samus Returns is a pretty big announcement for the 3DS, too. In my opinion, it was the biggest thing for 3DS aside from Pokemon. So the fact that they showed that at the Treehouse, I think, Lewis, I think this may happen again this year as well. So, yeah. And Sabbath, where did I get my shirt? Actually, I think someone got it. My brother got it for me at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if... I don't know. He got it at a store. At some sort of shopping mall market. Maybe Kohl's or... I don't know. Yeah. I wish I could tell you more than that, but... Yeah. So, sorry. But it's not like a super rare shirt either, so I'm pretty sure you can find it. If you Google it or look it up on Amazon, like Mario Bros shirt, you'll probably find something similar. So, yeah.
He says he thinks this year's E3 will be the best one yet.
Maybe.
I don't get that feeling, but maybe so.
Yeah.
I feel like they definitely will announce something Animal Crossing, and depending on who you are,
Please.
it could be
Well,
considered.
I'm thinking E3 is gonna probably have like a real Smash trailer, probably a trailer for Fire Emblem 16, maybe a
Right.
new Animal Crossing. So there's
Without
a
a-
couple of good games that they have on deck to like announce.
Right,
like,
I mean,
trailers for.
yeah,
So it's
I'll
gonna be a bad E3.
yeah, I'll list off the games that they could possibly show at E3. Smash Brothers, Pikmin 4, Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, Yoshi, and Bayonetta 3, right? Like, aside from Animal Crossing, all of those games are announced, right? And Animal Crossing is expected to be announced because it's usually announced early on in console life cycles and the mobile game. That doesn't count any other surprises, So they could show at least half those, and I think it'd be a crazy E3. But I don't think all of them will be at E3. I think some of those are definitely going to be 2019 games or potentially beyond. But
Definitely Metroid 4. Yeah. Metroid Prime 4.
you guys don't think it'll be at E3?
Pedro has a good head on his shoulders. No, you said when you meant 2019 games.
Ah. Yeah. Well, we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that debate.
Right.
Yeah. I for the record, I mean, I've never said that Metroid Prime 4 is... Well, I made the argument, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I've cut off the Pokemon thing. Alright, so here we go. There is some information out there suggesting that a Pokemon Direct may be happening kind of soon. So there's... Well, one of the most interesting tells is that if you check like Nintendo's like Nintendo Direct like listings, the Japanese site, they the basic pattern is that when one Direct is taken off the list, it usually suggests another Direct is coming relatively soon. And they recently took off their Pokemon, their previous Pokemon Direct from that listing, which suggests that there could be another Pokemon Direct in the near future. And historically speaking, there's always a Pokemon Direct not too long before E3, and we're getting close. We're within 3 months of E3, the listing was taken off, it makes sense. Technically, Pokemon is still listed as 2018 or later, so we're expecting to hear something about Pokemon Switch this year. So it all is kind of lining up. On top of that, there are some rumors from some people who have gotten some other things about Pokemon right before that they expect to see Pokemon November 2018. And also historically, at least the last few years, Pokemon has come out literally every year, November. So if Pokemon's coming out this year, November 2018 makes a lot of sense. And a Direct in late April, as some of the rumors suggest, also makes a lot of sense. Because if you look at Nintendo's or Pokemon companies like sort of pattern the last few years, that's exactly what they've done. So what do you guys think about this? You guys think that we're going to be getting a Pokemon Direct in late April before E3 or not?
I think there's a good chance. I think maybe the stars are aligning. They have said so many times that they want to get this game out in 2018, and they usually would have a Pokemon Direct around, April or May. So I think it could happen. I think it's a high possibility there.
Right.
Pretty likely, yeah.
I do think. Oh yeah, I think maybe did you say that there was a direct page?
Yeah, if you check the Japanese site, they took off their Pokemon Direct from there. And normally when they take off a Direct, it means another Direct is coming. And if they take off their Pokemon Direct, that's happened in the past. Where they take off their Pokemon Direct, and within a month or so after that, they bring out a new Pokemon Direct.
Well, I heard all that. But, all right. When they do that, I think that pretty much guarantees it. So I don't think when they do that, has there ever just not been a direct?
I mean,
every time something like that has happened, it's been like a direct maybe a month or so later.
Right. It's not. Doesn't mean like immediately afterwards. It means within a month or so. Right. A month or so being maybe a few weeks, maybe 2 months. So, but it does. I would call that a looming direct, right? Somewhere between now and E3, I think there will be a Pokemon Direct, right. And the pattern shows that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they could, like, it's very possible. Like, the only way I could see this like being possibly wrong in like a crazy alternate future is if Nintendo just said, "Nah, let's just say Pokemon for E3," which they save it for E3, but they don't just show it at E3.
Yeah, so just a heads up, No Filter Nintendo Podcast is saying that the volume for you guys is a little low, so I went ahead and tried to raise it a little bit. Let me know if the audio levels are a little better now, guys. Hopefully it is.
That weird glitch happens a lot.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, but it should be good. I was gonna say something and I forgot.
It was about
not very important.
Maybe about Pokemon.
Probably about Pokemon, yes. I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's probably going to happen. I don't see why not. I really think Pokemon's going to come out this year, and if not, like, very early 2019. If they can't get it this year, it's because, like, something, like, minor, or, like, there's some kind of reason that they wouldn't be able to get out this year. Like, it would be something came off. It wouldn't be like, oh, we didn't know.
Yeah,
I think they were planning for
like the plan is 2018, but potentially it could somehow be delayed afterwards if something goes wrong. And if it's anything like my podcast, something could very likely go wrong. Yeah.
November 2018 is the perfect time. Like Andres said, it's just historically speaking, at least in recent memory, it's always just been November. I don't think there are many reasons to doubt that it will come out in November, especially with Nintendo sort of backing it up with that 2018 or later thing, which means like their mind frame is like, we gotta get this out in 2018, and like depending on who you ask, or I think everyone would agree, Pokemon just sells, and that would be the perfect holiday title.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if they actually like. I'll say we'll get more into this a little later, but like. My thinking right now, Smash is already confirmed for 2018. Pokemon seems to have a really good chance for 2018. Like, I think Smash has a good chance of coming out in September with Nintendo's online service, right? And now that Smash has been confirmed and also confirmed for 2018, that speculation I've been talking about for months now is slightly more likely. So if Smash comes out in September, Pokemon could be coming out in November, right? Like, it's all of a sudden, like, this year looks pretty good. You know, if they find a decent game for October and December, like, that's pretty stacked. And, I mean, just my thinking, I feel like Fire Emblem kind of fits that Xenoblade sort of role, and they could come out in December.
Oh, for sure.
And I think Yoshi, which hasn't been spoken of at all yet, either A, is not coming out this year, or is going to be announced for August, like, at E3.
Yeah, I don't see it not coming out this year. I don't see why that game would get delayed. It's just a 2D platformer. I don't think it would take that much to get it done. So, like, I don't feel like that one would be the one to get delayed. So I think it's coming out in summer.
Yeah, so
I'm a tiny bit worried about Fire Emblem, but I don't really see what type of issue.
Well,
I mean, Fire Emblem Echo took like 4 months to do Echo, after their announcement. So I don't think that one will take very long. I think that's very possible to release in December.
Yeah.
They only really announce it when they're comfortable that they're like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and release it. I think the only one they did that for, where they weren't really comfortable with the time that they were going to release it, was, I think you guys know. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Oh, Metroid Prime. Okay, let's go.
Oh, I mean, I don't agree. I think that was highly calculated. So, but you know, we'll see what happens, right? Time will tell.
Right.
But yeah, so a few things to what Sabbath64 is saying here. Two different things actually. So let's get to the one that's slightly more relevant to what we're saying, and then the other one that's more relevant to the topic. First, he's saying he has a feeling that the Yoshi game is going to be canceled. I don't think it's going to be canceled. I think if in general, like Nintendo's been showing off games the last few years, they feel like it's close enough to development in the development cycle that they're confident that this game is going to come out, right, and relatively soon. So I just think they haven't shown off Yoshi because they haven't shown off Yoshi. You know, for whatever reason, people are talking about Yoshi being canceled, but people aren't really talking about Fire Emblem being canceled. Yet technically, they were both shown off. You know, like.
I feel like whereas, like, if there was like any other, like, Nintendo doesn't really, in my opinion, see Yoshi as like super like. They don't really see it as like super marketable, where it's like, oh guys, you already know, Game of the Year, Yoshi coming on the Switch. Like, they don't really do
I think it's one of their B titles. It's one of their B titles. Like Kirby, I consider a B title. You know, Star Fox, unfortunately, is a B title. You know, that is not a B title. Yo, you haven't even played a Metroid Prime game, bro. Like, you gotta stop throwing shade. You gotta stop.
I mean, it's not throwing shade. It's kind of like they do kind of put it on the back.
Yeah. Not in terms of budget though. Like, just in terms of there's a difference.
know a little more than you think about Metroid.
Okay, first of all, Yoshi and Kirby games have been coming out all, like, if you're talking about frequency of release, that is completely different. Completely different. Yoshi and Kirby games have been coming out like multiple times per console. So this is a completely different beast here. Okay, I'm not saying Metroid is treated like Mario or Zelda, because it's not, but it's also not being treated like Yoshi or Kirby. So let's not pretend it is.
No. You kind of changed the dialogue where it's like the frequency when they come out, but Metroid doesn't really do well like that. So if anything, that just makes Metroid, by your logic, like you did the frequency thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying it's different. I wouldn't make the comparison. Metroid's not in the same framework as Yoshi. So, well, let's move on to. Let's move on to this other question that Sabbath has. It's more like a what if. What if Pokemon Switch is a remake for the first 3 Pokemon games? So, there are some rumors indicating that this could be kind of a reboot, but when I've heard some of the people who are more, who look into more of this Pokemon rumor stuff and all that, their perception of this reboot is more along the lines of like a Pokemon Black and White, where they kind of, like, they sort of don't, like in Pokemon Black and White, when you started the game, you couldn't use any of the original Pokemon until like close to the post game. Like all the first like 150 Pokemon you see are completely new Pokemon. So based off the rumors, it's kind of the opposite of what you're suggesting. That said, my sort of like speculation is that they could go back to like Kanto or Johto, introduce some new Pokemon, but really just kind of go back to the roots, right? And that would really bring in a lot of old gamers, right, who haven't played Pokemon in years, but now that's coming to home console, it'd be something that's more familiar to them. That's kind of like what the reasoning with what they did with Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go used the original 150 Pokemon because to appeal to a large audience, those are the most familiar to people, and that's what they started with. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Well, that's right. You're not a Pokemon fan. Neither are you. Neither of you guys are Pokemon or Metroid fans.
Oh no, I'm
sinners.
a huge Pokemon and Metroid
Sinners.
fan.
Sinners.
They're Nintendo franchises, so yeah. Obviously, I look into those franchises, and I don't. Well, obviously that would be cool, like remakes of the first one. And I have heard the rumor of a reboot, and I think that would be cool to see what direction they could take that. And that would kind of fit the Switch, like the whole reboot thing. I hate to take away from the whole remake thing, but the Switch is like a new frontier for the Pokemon series. There haven't been any real mainstream Pokemon for home consoles, so Honestly,
Yeah.
I think that could be true.
Right, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't know if it's a remake or a reboot or whatever you want to call it, but I do feel like this Pokemon game is going to be more of a departure for the series, right? Like, it's going to be like this Pokemon is going to be more different from the previous Pokemon than say Sun and Moon was to X and Y. You know, what that eventually means, it's hard to say, right? You know, they could take this in a few different directions, but
It's gonna be a Pokemon MMO.
right, yeah,
Obviously.
maybe
That's
20
what
years
we
from
are.
now.
Pokemon.
Maybe 20 years from now. So, Pedro, what do you think before we move on to the next topic?
Well, personally, I think it would be really cool to see either one. Like, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the first 3 games, so if we could see a remake of the first 3 games on Switch, that would be pretty cool. Though an entire, like, reboot, a whole, like, new way that they're going to take this series, I would love to see that as well. There's really just no way to know at this point, but I think E3, I think we might, or Pokemon Directs, that could most likely happen. Like, we'll find out pretty soon, I think.
Yeah, no, the way I see it happening is that we're going to get a trailer at this Pokemon Direct, and then a few weeks later, or a month later, or whatever, whenever this Direct happens, assuming it happens, we will see, like, full-on gameplay at E3. But we'll get a trailer, and we'll have an idea of how the game is, you know, before E3. But we won't see, like, you know, like, gameplay demos until E3. Yeah.
Right. Usually I would argue that Nintendo would be doing something differently, but obviously they don't own the Pokemon company, so yeah.
Yeah, so let's actually... Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's alright.
Okay, so let's move on to the actual Direct now. Okay, I think we're making decent time. But let's first talk about the 3DS part of the Direct. It just kind of seems like the 3DS will not die. I think I remember counting like 6 or 7 games, and I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. But initially, they started off the Direct, and the first 5 minutes were devoted to the 3DS, and they got that done pretty quickly, which I was pretty happy with. You know, we saw WarioWare Gold, right? There's the Luigi's Mansion remake, which is the one that really threw me for a loop. There is a Mario and Luigi, it's like a remake, right? It's a
Inside Story.
right it's another remake. WarioWare Gold is also kind of like a remake. It's basically like Mario Party 100, right? Where they're combining like the history of a whole bunch of other WarioWare games.
Yeah.
They're bringing Captain Toad Treasure Tracker to the Switch and the 3DS. The 3DS version doesn't look like it's going to be having the Mario Odyssey levels, but we'll see how that works out. And there's this other game, Sushi Rider or something, that's coming. Sushi Striker that's coming to 3DS and Switch as well. There's a couple other games that I do not remember off the top of my head. Do you guys?
Dylan Rolling Western.
Right, which
spin-off.
yeah, it's kind of like this Nintendo IP that's been only on the 3DS, which does look interesting. And I'm pretty sure there's one more game that I can't think of right now, but you know, it was decent. I was like, oh, okay, there's Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu's finally getting localized. Yeah, which is a game that I was really excited about like a year and a half ago. But you know, it's finally coming now, and it could be cool, I guess. So, but still, regardless, I didn't expect that much content for the 3DS, and I think all of that was compelling content. Like it's entertaining. But I also noticed that all of those games were basically remakes, you know, for the most part, or ports, right? Like the only game that I guess is completely new is a Dylan's Rolling Western game, right? Everything else is some sort of remaster or port. So I still don't feel like the 3DS is like alive, like, you know, like 2013 alive, right? But it's getting a lot more games than I expected. And I think the Mario and Luigi remake is a 2019 game.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy. I would have wanted to see the Luigi's Mansion remake come out on Switch, but it's coming out on 3DS, which is probably a much easier job. So I was kind of like excited, but also disappointed at the same time. It was very bittersweet for me. But you know, that's kind of like my base opinions for all of that stuff. What do you guys think about the 3DS and everything that was shown off?
3DS, stop it. Just die. Stop making games that make me want to buy another one of you to play like one game. Stop it. Bring it to the Switch. Stop. Oh my gosh. When they announced, it was like anything else they announced, I was like, I don't care. I don't need to play this. Then they announced that they were remaking Bowser's Inside Story, and I was like, damn it, that was like my favorite DS game ever, and it was amazing. And now I kind of want to buy a 3DS again. I'm like, I don't want to. But stop. But it was kind of what I predicted in my in our discussion. Was that the direct? I think I predicted it would get 5 minutes. It got 6 minutes. I was pretty dang close. So nothing else seemed to be that big of a deal. Nothing seemed to be that big of a deal. Like the remakes are like they're on the 3DS, so they're barely upgraded remakes. That takes like no effort.
Right, you just scale it down. Yeah.
Some of it's down, some of it's a bit upscaling. It's like barely any difference there. And then there was the Dylan Rolling Western spin-off. Seems like super low budget in my opinion. I don't care about that sushi game on the Switch or the
I kind of like if it's at a good price, I might consider it actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think the music is really good. I think the animation's really good. You know, if it's like a $10 game, I'll seriously consider it.
I just have too many other like games I want to get to consider a sushi game. So.
Right.
Maybe in a perfect world where I had all the time and money that I wanted, then I'd get it.
Yeah, I was surprised with how much they're keeping the 3DS on life support, like still like shoveling stuff out for it. And I mean, although it's like sure they have a couple of things, Bowser's Inside Story remake is the only one I'm really like looking at. I thought Fire Emblem Echoes was going to be the last 3DS game I bought, but I might actually get that Bowser's Inside Story remake. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, for me personally, it's like they're releasing one game that I would want like every year or so, and it's, I don't know. They're really trying, but I'm really not sure why they're still trying to keep it alive.
Well, I can tell you, it's purely because of money. Your 3DS is still thriving, so exactly. Like it makes sense to support the system because it makes them money, and I think Nintendo's in a weird situation right now in the sense that the Switch is kind of like a successor to both the Wii U and the 3DS. So, assuming that there is no other handheld planned for the future, right aside from the Switch, then, you know, them killing off the 3DS kind of is like not a good business move, you know? Like, they don't have a replacement for that market. So, like, they're kind of just using the 3DS as, like, okay, if you don't want to invest in the Switch yet, right, you already have a 3DS, or you want a cheaper system and play Nintendo games, the 3DS is a great option for that, because the library is just getting better and better and better, right? There are so many good 3DS games out there already, and, you know, if what they're showing to me is just kind of like, for those who haven't moved on to the Switch, they're still getting support. They're getting arguably better support with the 3DS now than the Wii U got in its last year. So,
I feel like once they fix the supply issue with the Switch, that the 3DS is done. Like, I don't think, like, even then, even with a system as successful as the 3DS, that they would just keep holding on to it. Like, I know that money kind of rules the world, but I think even Nintendo knows that the Switch is on like a just world-breaking pace right now. But I feel like it's kind of worth it to let it go. They don't really mind dropping stuff. They don't. So yeah.
I know exactly when the 3DS is gonna die. It's gonna die as soon as
like the 3DS stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's the true end for the 3DS, in my opinion. Like,
in terms of like the 3DS support in like the direct, because I thought I would never ever get my thoughts out on it. I think I'm like one of the only people that didn't anything they showed. The Captain Toad thing was alright, but it's on the Switch, and I would rather get it there. The Mario and Luigi, honestly one of my favorite out of the Mario and Luigi series, even though I feel like they're gonna water it down to the point where it's not really recognizable to me. And Luigi's Mansion, I don't like that at all. Like, I think the other one looks better. And I won't really miss it if it doesn't come to the Switch, since I got a good feeling that we're gonna get like GameCube Virtual Console, and Luigi's Mansion is gonna be like one of the first games they look at.
Mm-hmm. I have a feeling we might get Luigi's Mansion 3 sometime. That will be in a couple of years, maybe. You know.
Right. they're definitely looking at the series.
Well, I hope if they do have a new Luigi's Mansion, it goes more in the style of the original Luigi's Mansion, at least in terms of like aesthetic, because like the original Luigi's Mansion is more atmospheric and moody, you know. And I really appreciated that for Luigi's Mansion. Not that I disliked Dark Moon. I liked it. I didn't finish it, but not because I didn't want to, but because my stepmom infamously, and if you've been following me for a while, you probably have heard the story multiple times already. But I had like 6 or 7 really good 3DS games all together in a Pokemon case. And for a while, I came back from college and I was staying with my parents for a little while. And my stepmom was like on this huge anything Pokemon is evil trip, and she said if I see anything Pokemon, I'll throw it away. And she hasn't admitted to this, but I had literally like over $200 to $300 worth of 3DS games in this Pokemon case, and it disappeared. And it was put away in my closet. And I've cleaned that closet out multiple times, looked through, and never found it. So, yeah, Luigi's Mansion, along with Kid Icarus and Resident Evil Revelations and Mario Kart 7 and Ocarina of Time 3D and probably a few other really good games. Yeah, all gone. All gone. That was really sad. Yeah, but, you know, I still prefer the original Luigi's Mansion in terms of, like, aesthetic, and I hope that Luigi's Mansion 3 eventually kind of carries more along those lines.
That's like the opposite for me. I liked how Dark Moon looked better, but I like how the original played more. So that's an interesting opinion.
Well, I didn't finish Dark Moon, so, you know, maybe my opinion would be better if I finished it. Yeah, well...
Dark Moon seemed kind of like it just seemed way too lighthearted as far as like Luigi's Mansion goes. I guess like that isn't really saying too, but I think I agree with Andres, and like the first one did like a way better job with atmosphere.
Yeah. It's also interesting to note, though, that originally Luigi's Mansion, like Nintendo was experimenting with 3D, and they were planning a 3D peripheral with the GameCube, right? And it just kind of like they're going to be able to revisit that concept for the original Luigi's Mansion on the Nintendo 3DS because it is in 3D. And interestingly, most 3DS games that have come out in the last year or so don't really feature the 3D effect anymore, but Luigi's Mansion, the remake, is going to have that 3D effect. I think it's going to work really well, because if you play 3DS games, you do use the 3D, it's almost like looking into a little window, into a box, right, rather than it popping out at you. And the way Luigi's Mansion is structured, I think really goes really well with that. So I think it could be a really good port, actually, for the 3DS. But I'm not playing my 3DS anymore, so I'm not sure I'll ever play it. But who knows? Maybe I'll be forced to buy a 2DS if that Zelda 3DS rumor is true. So, we'll see. Anything else to say about the 3DS Direct before we get to the chat and then move on to the other half of the Direct?
What was it, 3DS Direct?
Well, the 3DS part of the Direct.
No, I'm just kidding. 3DS, please die. That's it.
If they're gonna keep the 3DS alive, I better see an Advance Wars game, honestly.
Oh man.
No, don't wish.
No. I rather get an Advance Wars that's like a $20 to $30 like HD 2D sprite kind of game, you know, or maybe kind of like a Project Octopath sort of style on this. So yeah, right. Yeah. Like that would be amazing.
Yes, I would definitely want anything that on the Switch. But if anything's gonna like I said, if they're gonna release another yearly game that's gonna make me want to keep the 3DS, Advance Wars would do it. But, so
yeah,
that should be on the Switch. Man,
I miss Advance Wars. It was so good. Dual Strike, one of my favorite DS games. Oh, loved it so much. Yeah. Great. So, we're gonna move on to the Switch part of the Direct, but I want to get to the chat first before we move on. A few things. So, Samus is saying he's had this on his mind, but besides the Switch also being a handheld console, do you think Nintendo has plans for another handheld console in the future? I kind of mentioned it earlier. I don't think so. I think they're just gonna eventually phase out the 3DS. Apparently, it's more slowly than I thought, but they're still gonna do it, and the Switch is gonna get more and more prevalent, especially if they hit that 20 to 30 million units this year. You know, come this time next year, the Switch could have over 40 million units out there. And at that point, they're getting close to 3DS level, and there's gonna be probably, I don't know about Switch different like Switch expansions, but there's probably gonna be a lot of different peripherals and stuff that will boost that, on its own, that they won't need another platform. So yeah, I don't think there is going to be one. What do you guys think?
That would kind of be stupid. That would be really stupid to like release the Switch as like, hey, it's portable. But we also got a entirely new portable thing that kind of renders the Switch, useless, I guess.
Right.
Not completely useless, but it kind of cuts it in half, where it's not that special. Their handheld market, and they're kind of eating to their own sales.
Yeah, so in my mind, right, the only way that there could have been like a successor to the 3DS, like a true, like, in that same line, would have been if Nintendo, let's say, for example, delayed the Wii U another year, made it more powerful, made the controller less clunky, had better games. Then that platform would have succeeded. Maybe Nintendo would have continued with like the home console sort of style, right? And then the 3DS would have evolved into maybe the HDS, right? But that never happened. The Wii U was a failure. They decided the Switch was the best way to go, and
Also, more the 3DS are already just bandwagoning onto the Switch. They're just packing up their stuff and moving to that system. So, like, for them to just move back to a weaker, inferior, like, DS line of systems would be, that would be weird.
Yeah, I don't really think it's happening.
So, right.
I don't know how they would differentiate it from the portable mode of Switch. Like, the portable mode of Switch is like it for graphics on mobile, almost. Like, you can't really get much better at this time. They're working on the technology, but it isn't quite affordable yet. So, like,
Right.
Are they just gonna make a handheld that's like less powerful than the Switch, or the same? And then what's the point? Why wouldn't you just make a Switch Mini that takes the same exact games, the same carts, but there's no detachable controllers and maybe the screen's a bit smaller.
Right, and it doesn't come with a dock, so you have to buy that separately. Yeah.
Why would you do a brand new?
Maybe a Switch Mini could happen. That, if anything, I could see that happening. But yeah, I don't see a just separate platform with like 2 screens or anything like that anytime soon.
Also, Project Octopath wouldn't happen. And if
right.
The team is middleware.
That's the Bravely Default team, right?
Right. That wouldn't happen, and it wouldn't look as good as it does because it's on Unreal Engine 4, and the 3DS sucks, and it can't run on
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Project Octopath is basically a spiritual successor to the Bravely Default series, so the fact that we're seeing that there is kind of like evidence in and of itself that handheld series is done.
Right.
Yeah, and with Pokemon Switch coming out, that's even more evidence, but there's still some people that believe that Pokemon Switch isn't like a real Pokemon game, even though it's been confirmed multiple times. But, when it's finally shown...
core RPG mean?
Right, exactly. People could still misconstrue that. I think once it's finally shown, that's it. Like, there's not really any disputing it. Like, 0.01% of people are going to argue otherwise. But after that, yeah.
The haters.
Yeah, pretty much. Pedro, do you have anything to say about a potential other handheld or no?
I think Switch Mini is the closest thing that we could have, because 3DS, like, I think that by making the Switch that console handheld, like, hybrid, they kind of, like, screwed themselves out of the whole making handhelds as a separate thing. It just defeats the purpose. So I don't see them making a new handheld or another, like, member of the 3DS family or anything like that. I think this is where it is right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you there. I think at the very least, though, with the 3DS, when everything is said and done, there literally are no Nintendo published games coming out for it. Like, you will be able to say that the 3DS has, like, the most complete library, right? Because if it wasn't fleshed out already, they're fleshing it out now. Like, they are completing, that library. You know what I mean? So, for anyone who misses the 2D sort of game, like, the 3DS has a huge library. You can always go back to it, There's so many games out there. There's tons that I missed. So, in the future, I may come back to the 3DS just to experience some great games that are unique to the 3DS. So...
I feel like a lot of people are gonna be 10 years later, 9 years later, everyone would be hating on the 3DS, and the next year they're gonna be like, man, I did not know that they remade Luigi's Mansion for 3DS. Why did no one tell me that? It's like, you remember you wanted it to die that year. It's gonna be so funny because everyone's gonna be like, oh man, Luigi's Mansion got a remake. Wow, why did no one tell me? It's like, oh, Nintendo did. You just didn't want to hear it.
So let me get to a couple more things in the chat and then move on, because yeah, I do want to move on. Madi was saying that we can consider this too, that the Wii U and the 3DS had 2 screens, yeah, kinda, and the Switch has 1 screen. Nintendo was saying they want more than 1 Switch in each household, 2 Switches, 2 screens. It's possible. I don't think that's necessarily the route they're gonna go, but it's funny to think about it, at least. Let me see. No Filter Nintendo Podcast is saying the Dark Moon was a better package in his opinion. It was longer, more content, and the 3D was awesome. Luigi's Mansion is like a diorama. I heard similar things, but I never finished Dark Moon, so I can't really say otherwise. But there were multiple mansions. You probably did get to experiment more and, try out different gameplay possibilities. So there is, I see, I to that degree I do agree, but I do still appreciate the atmosphere more in the original Luigi's Mansion.
You know what? It is for Andres, no filter. Your opinion is not my opinion, so it doesn't matter. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there.
Yeah. My only problem with Dark Moon, I think, was the fact that it was like way more structured, and, like level based in the original. The original felt more free and open.
Oh yeah.
Even though it wasn't actually. It just felt like.
Right, that just increases, like, you're alone, man. There's no sub menu to select the level. You're gonna die. That's how it felt.
Lay down and die.
So apparently Sabbath64's birthday is gonna be on Friday. Don't say hashtag not anyone cares. I care. We care. You were a valued member of this community, Sabbath. Happy birthday, bro.
Kirby's gonna outshine you on your own birthday, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh. Maybe I'll have a Kirby stream and I can give you a shout out then if you want to do that. What's up, Entertainment Gaming Daily? All right, let's move on. Oh, Arshan saying congrats on the 900. Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting there. But yeah, let's move on a little bit. So, Switch. Okay. The Nintendo Switch. Right. It had a lot of games shown off at the Direct. Most of the Direct. I was pleased to see that. There's quite a few things, and I don't think we have to go over every little thing, but how about each of us kind of go around in a circle and sort of talk about maybe 2 games, excluding Smash Brothers, right, that we were kind of like exciting to us. Who wants to go first? How about Pedro? You're the guest here. How about you go first? Sorry to throw you in a spot there, unless you're ready.
I was about to just say Smash Brothers, but then you excluded it. I can't say that, like, all of the stuff in the directs got me, and I like have to think about like what stuff was like really like big for me. I'm trying because shoot, I don't know. Somebody else go first, and let me think about it.
I'd say Undertale and South Park. Those 2 games. First of all, Undertale is just, like I said in my video, just one of my favorite games, and my favorite game of 2015 personally. And South Park is, well, from my perspective, it's not surprising because I know Nintendo's actively wanting for the mature content on the Switch, and they actually got some South Park advertisements out on YouTube and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but from like other people's perspective, they're like, oh, this is kid-friendly Nintendo. This is freaking theme park Nintendo. This is the same company. Like, I think that sort of speaks to Nintendo's new mindset with the Switch. But I think I've hammered that point home a bunch already. Like, Nintendo, this is a new Nintendo. This is a new Nintendo. This is a new Nintendo. So I don't really think there's too much I can say to further this.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I might give Undertale a try. I've never actually played it, but I've heard that it's comparable to Earthbound, and Earthbound is amazing. Earthbound is ridiculously amazing.
I mean, you haven't played Undertale, that's why I was like, blasphemy.
Yeah, but I'm also mostly a hardcore Nintendo fan, so yeah.
Right. I just assumed that you had actual good taste in games. No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, bro, you keep on throwing shade left and right. Left and right. You have like some sort of vendetta against me. You know what? I bet. You know what? Challenge now. When Smash Bros. Comes out, I'm gonna smoke you.
Podcast interesting. Everyone else is asleep. Even the viewers are asleep.
You keep throwing shade. That was supposed to be like your apology, and you've literally thrown more shade, bro. More shade. Like, damn, I'm gonna need some Mario Sunshine, sunglasses or something. Or like, damn.
I honestly didn't mean to do that.
I don't care, bro. It's fine.
Oh, God.
I just realized what I said. Like, oh, everyone's asleep. I didn't mean to call the podcast boring, but like they weren't like super hyped. That's why I was like, oh, let's get them hyped.
By insulting me.
I wasn't trying to.
That insulting hype.
All right. Let's move on. There's no feelings are hurt at all. Actually, yeah, I'm excited about Undertale. I want to give it a shot for sure. I thought it was interesting to kind of just see how it was presented. It was like, it's like, oh yeah, I can see the personality of the game, and that's what kind of excites me about it, and I can't wait to give it a shot. So I guess your two picks, Will, aside from Smash, or South Park and Undertale, then. Good choices. More ports, but good ports, like games that should be on the Switch, and a lot of people who haven't played it, like myself, because they are mostly hardcore Nintendo fans. Being able to play these games is awesome. So, who else is ready to go next?
I'm ready. My two were what? Did you say, Will?
Nothing.
Okay. I see how it is. But I was really hyped when they showed Captain Toad Treasure Tracker because I loved that game on the Wii U, and seeing Mario Odyssey content in it is awesome. So I'm really looking forward to that game on the Switch, and I guess the 3DS, but who cares? I just hope they add a lot more content. I'm not even sure if I actually finished it on the Wii U. There's a lot of games on Wii U I never finished, but that one was really unique. So I liked that. Like, that was the best part of 3D World, was just playing the Captain Toad segment. So then they made a whole game about it. It was like,
they're adding Odyssey levels, which I think is really cool. Now, my question is, how many Odyssey levels? I want a ratio here to kind of have an understanding of how much extra new content I'm going to be getting with this game. Because if it's just like, a number of levels that I could beat in like 10, 30 minutes, then I'm not sure it warrants like a whole other purchase, right? But if it's like maybe like a third more new content, then at that point I'm like, oh, this is like really cool. You know what? I would more likely to buy it because I did have it on Wii U, but I didn't beat it on Wii U. So, I probably would buy it again if it's like $20-$30 if it has like like an extra chunk of new content.
Yeah, I think it was $40 on Wii U, so that's probably what it's gonna be in my.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's had a price drop since then, and I hope they abide by that, but they probably won't. I mean, just look at Tropical Freeze. Look at Tropical Freeze. They upped the price. Well, we don't actually know.
I think they actually confirmed it, but
they confirmed it for $60. Really? Wow. Yeah, I hope. I love Retro Studios. I love Donkey Kong, but I kind of hope that bombs because it shouldn't be $60. The original that came out in 2014 was $50.
I had no idea we didn't get a release date for the Tropical Freeze.
Yeah, we don't. We don't know when that's coming out.
That's weird.
Maybe they're like, backlash, change the price.
Maybe they could like goof around. If they goof around and make that like a game in the later half of the year, that would be.
It would die. It would just straight up die. But for my second game, for my second game, well, it's not really a new game, but that Octo expansion.
Bro, yeah, dude, like that trailer was wicked cool. They had so much style, so much funk, so much freshness. Yeah, I'm hyped about that. And I care more about the single player. Like, I'm more of a single player gamer, right? So seeing that, I'm really hyped for that. And I think it's good that they sort of separated the single player paid DLC from multiplayer free content, Yeah, totally with you there.
I mean, this is like exactly what people are asking for, like on the Wii U. They were like, give us some paid DLC. Let us pay for a new campaign. Let us have playable Octolings. Like, they were in the code. They were there. I'm guessing since they were moving on to Splatoon 2, they just didn't implement them because they wanted it as a feature of that game because they had it up and
Right.
working in the Wii U code.
Except there wasn't even feature for Splatoon 2. It's more of an expansion a year after its release.
I love that the new campaign is going to be with the playable Octoling. Like you explore life like as an Octoling that lost its memories. That's like so cool, and it looked even more unique than we've ever seen Splatoon go.
They
Like,
even had a
those
Biggie
level
and
designs
Tupac
were
reference.
better than ever.
The trailer had a Biggie and Tupac reference. You guys noticed that, right?
Yeah,
I noticed it
everyone
when somebody said it on
But,
Twitter.
I instantly noticed it because Pearl always has that sort of crown, that ugly crown thing that makes her look uglier than already how ugly she is.
Yeah, sure.
But
Exactly.
but when Marina had on that scarf and it was white, and I was like, holy crap! Because that image of Tupac was just in the forefront of my mind, and I was like, that's Tupac. It's like
Yeah.
or Octoling.
It's amazing that they had that kind of reference, you know? I think that's
Right.
just... I mean, it's nothing incredibly, like, groundbreaking, but it's just, like, it's a cool little thing, for sure. It just kind of speaks to how much, like, thought is put into the designs for this game, because they're so unique, and they're, you know, they're fresh, you know? I love it. I love it so much.
Right. Like everything is about style, so you gotta sneak Biggie and Tupac in there somehow.
Yeah, you think you'd be able to get, like, no, actually, I don't. I was gonna ask, you think you'd be able to get, like, those as accessories? Probably not.
Oh, that would be cool.
Maybe.
I mean, it's not impossible. I just, you know, the crown hasn't made available, and Pearl has had that for a while, so, you know,
Almost that ugly thing.
yeah, but, you know, it would be interesting to see all the, like, you know, Squid Sisters be playable. Like, you know, like, why not? Like, what is, I guess you wouldn't be able to use them during the, you know, Splatfest, right? Because
Yeah, I mean, it'd be weird if, like, multiple people had, it was, like, multiple Calling and Maries, or, like, multiple, it's like, what?
well, it would be cool if, like, maybe they allowed more customization options to the point where you could basically make your character look like Pearl, Marina, or the previous Squid Sisters. You know, like that. I would like it. I don't need it, but I'm just saying I would like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Splatoon. What's your other game, Brandon?
I said it before.
Oh, right, Captain Toad. I'm sorry.
Toad,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all good, bro. It's all good.
Yeah. So, Pedro, did you come up with a list yet?
Okay, yeah. Well, I know it wasn't really like a new announcement, but like Octopath Traveler, like I'm so excited.
Right, to get an update. We got a release date.
Yeah, I mean, cause when I played the demo, it was just so much fun, and like I remember like even after I beat like all the stuff that you could do, I kept like trying to do like the extra stuff that was in there, like because it like just exploring all the areas and doing all the optional things like that. I'm just so excited for that game, and I was really happy to see an update. But and then otherwise, Undertale, pretty cool to see it on the Switch. I liked it a lot on PC.
Thank you.
Pretty good game. Yeah, and it's nothing like Earthbound. It definitely, like, to somebody who hasn't played Undertale, it gives that impression, but it's very different.
Right, I've simply heard many people make that comparison, but, you know.
Kind of quirk.
He's Toby Fox is a huge fan of Earthbound. That's probably why too.
Yeah.
His love for it sort of reflects in a lot of the character design and stuff like that. So that could be like the whole aesthetic of the game. I would argue reminds me of Undertale. Not Undertale. What I'm talking about, Earthbound.
Undertale reminds me of Undertale. You can't say.
Cool. So, I guess I'll say what was kind of exciting me, I guess. Or is there anything else you want to add, Pedro?
Crash Bandicoot trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
also pretty hype. I never played it myself. Never played the originals. I only ever had like that one racing game that was on like the GameCube, and like the loading screen could make a fart. That's just like one of those series that I've always wanted to play, and I just never did. And so since it's on the Switch, it's like I have the chance now, and I'm kind of excited for that. Also, the fact that it's a Sony IP, being on
Right.
Switch.
Right, like, well, it's not.
Activision IP, but everyone thinks it's a Sony IP.
Well, they had a agreement back in the PS1 era, you know, and there's really a big part of like the whole branding to like take down Nintendo, become the top. Like there's literally Crash Bandicoot commercials with him like screaming at Nintendo headquarters. Like, you know, it's fun stuff. It is definitely nice to see.
My boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to see Crash on the system now. You know, I might give it a shot. Probably not, but because Crash is just not my cup of tea. But maybe. I mean, I am into platformers, so we'll see. But I am more excited about the idea that Spyro could be coming. Like, there's been rumors about that. Like, that would get me really excited. And seeing Crash, I feel like kind of, you know, increases the possibility a little bit at least, you know. But we'll see how that pans out.
To add something to his project, and I don't know why I didn't mention this. I think I had like the preset like that Andres gave us. Oh, it had to have surprised you, but I don't know why I was thinking like that. Octopath Traveler, man, I'm just gonna say it's gonna be like the best JRPG of the year. Like, and yes, I am including Kingdom Hearts 3 and Ni no Kuni 2 in that. Never heard of
them.
As if
Kingdom Hearts 3 is gonna come out this year or ever.
Right. 2033 maybe. Sort of, no?
Right.
Yeah, so these are mine. Just pointing out that let's not get too testy in the chat. You know, I don't want any like super crazy arguments to happen, so I don't want it to ban anyone like Will for throwing shade at me. I'm just kidding. Yeah, just joking, bro. But like, so these are some games that stood out to me. I'm surprised you guys didn't mention them, but one, Mario Tennis Aces, actually. Like, I was surprised at how, one, normally when they have, like, these, like, segments that are focused on a particular game, I kind of get bored by it, because, like, okay, usually I can tell if I want a game or not. You know, I don't need them to tell me, like, every detail. I'll wait until I actually play the game to learn about the mechanics and, you know, like, the different modes and features, like. But when the way they did it this time, it wasn't boring at all. I feel like it was pretty effective. It was efficient, and just like hearing about the mechanics for Mario Tennis Aces, it seems like a lot more in depth than I thought it would be. And it seems like, you know, there's gonna be layers to the gameplay here, and that actually is really interesting to me. So I'm not completely sold on it yet, but it's definitely, like, you know, in my radar now. Like, this is looking to be, like, one of the better Mario Tennis games, if not maybe the best one. We'll see, right? So I just thought that it looks really good from what I saw, and I can't wait to hear more about it. Yeah. No?
I'd agree.
Oh, okay.
I'd agree with, because the last two, I want to say, the one on the Wii U, what am I talking about? The one on the Wii U, obviously terrible. But also the one on the 3DS, I'm pretty sure like everyone forgot about Mario Tennis Open. I did not like that at all. So this one, by far, seems way better than both of those combined. Kaioken times 80.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. So, is there anything else you guys want to say to Mario Tennis Aces before I tell you guys about the other game, and then we move on to the big topic?
Yeah, I have a few things to say just because I want Andres to get shook about not talking about Smash. No, I'm just kidding. I actually have things to say.
Drag it on.
I actually have points to make. I like all the new cool like things they're adding. I like the fact that all the new, like when you fill up the bar, you can do like different moves that allow you to more easily play the game. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here. Hold on.
You're just slowing it down.
Yeah, I'm trying. That bar you fill up, and you can like do dodge. You can do rolls to get to like the ball quicker, and you can do that if you fill it up all the way. You can do that super attack. I like the fact that there's like this risk versus reward. Like, should I use my energy now in order to get to the ball?
And different ways to win too. Like, it's not just winning by points. You could also break a racket, and that is interesting to me, to say the least. I wanted to see how they carry out that mechanic, because I could see it becoming really annoying, you know? So that is something that I'm holding my reservations for. But at the same time, they do have like a basic mode available, and on top of that, they also have like a motion control mode available, right? Which kind of looks like it'll play like Wii Sports, which I also think could be really cool. And that could be something that would be a great like multiplayer game when I have people over, use those fancy Joy-Cons to actually have some good tennis going on. So I mean, yeah, Brandon, I think this has a lot of potential.
Yeah, and I think but they did show off how that special move worked. Essentially, you aim it where you want it to go, and they can block it though. Like, it's still skill, which I like. It's not just like, hey, you filled it up, insta points now. No, it's like they can still go over there, and if they're good and they time it right, they can do it. Or if they don't time it right, they can still hit it back, but it damages your racket. I think your racket has 3 points of health, so if you get your racket damaged 3 times, it just instantly breaks. So if you time it right, you can get it. If you get like a perfect block or a perfect hit back, then it doesn't damage your racket. So that's pretty much just how it works.
Yeah. So, it's definitely on my radar, so I can't wait to see more about that. So the other game that I want to bring up is Dark Souls Remastered. Like, this is just kind of an example. It's one of the first examples of the Switch getting a day-and-date multi-plat game. Like a big one, a major one from Software. And as a hardcore Nintendo fan, before recently, I had never really given a Dark Souls game a try. And technically, I still haven't. I'm actually playing Bloodborne on my PS4 now, and I'm loving the heck out of it. And as I'm progressing through that game, I'm getting more and more hyped for Dark Souls. And I want to play it on Switch. I don't want to play it on the other platforms because as I'm playing Bloodborne, like, I go in and out, like, I take a lot of breaks because I die a lot, right? And just that nature of going in and out, right? Like, I feel like that works so well for the Switch because you can go in and out, in portable mode, through sleep mode, taking on the go, going through television, and I think it's going to fit really well. And since I've seen some gameplay already, I actually saw Brandon's, like, graphics comparison, which I think does technically, shout out to Brandon's video. You checked it out. You guys check it out if you haven't seen it already. But, like, it highlights that the game definitely looks a lot better than the previous version. There is an expanded online mode, and, the portability, I think, is going to add even more value to this, and since I've never played Dark Souls before, it's going to have all the DLC. This seems like an amazing package for me, and I'm really excited about it. A couple other things, though. One, the Amiibo. I kind of thought there might be some sort of Nintendo-y content. It's technically not like Nintendo skins, but there is an Amiibo. And as a Dark Souls fan, well, I'm not a Dark Souls, I'm becoming a Dark Souls fan, right? But, I feel like there's a lot of Dark Souls fans that really appreciate that. Will, I know you're a fan. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I was just going to get into that. I'm actually way more impressed that they have an Amiibo of the guy doing the Praise the Sun pose, because that's basically a meme. Maybe Nintendo didn't really plan that, but From Software did. I could see if Nintendo did that. I would be really, really surprised. I don't think they would be aware of that. That's a meme or whatever, but they have done some like cringy meme stuff on Twitter. But this actually puts a lot on the table. Like, I feel like now that a meme is effectively a meme is like an amiibo, that like anything can be an amiibo now, which I think is pretty cool. But in fact, like the actual first game being on the Switch, I really love, because I would have, like, on my PS4, it would have just been like another generic remaster. But on the Switch, it's one of my favorite games remastered that I can play on the go, and now it has this new online mode and an amiibo that Nintendo has endorsed officially. This hardcore game, I don't know, I really, really like it. It's very, very positive. And I will say that I thought that there would be no point in them showing Dark Souls again, and I will eat my crow right here. I will eat it. But I did sort of say that Nintendo would have to like push something in there for them to show it again.
Right. Well, I mean, we talked about it before. Yeah, I speculated that they might, and you went out and agreed. So that if they're going to introduce any like sort of like Nintendo-y peripheral content amiibos, then yeah, they would show it off. So you're good. You weren't wrong.
I was sort of wrong. I'm just gonna take the L.
Okay.
How you say it, like just because I did say, oh man, there's no point. I honestly I didn't see an amiibo coming. That's why I was like, I didn't see a Mario custom coming. Like I didn't see any of that coming. Like I dismissed it as like speculation. So I was like, no, I'm wrong.
It's very big of you, Will. Not everyone can take an L. You get a W for taking the L. So, yeah.
You guys keep calling it an amiibo. It's obviously an meme-bo. Obviously, guys.
I'm gonna ban you. I'm banning you.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean it's pretty cool. Another thing that's pretty cool is that it's the Switch version is also going to be a part of the online beta or online testing for the game, which is going to give some people to give it a try. And I'm really it's also with Mario Tennis. There's also going to be like a little online beta for that as well, and or whatever you want to call it, some sort of people are going to be able to play both games through online together for free before the game comes out, and that, I think, is really cool. Nintendo is progressively becoming more and more up-to-date with the times, allowing these sort of things to happen. On the Wii U, this never would have happened, right? You could bet money that this wouldn't happen, And, like, we're seeing these things happen on the Switch now, and I'm very pleased to see that. I'm really pleased to see that, and I'm excited. I'm excited because it's Nintendo's... They're just doing well, man. Like, they're not 100% there with the whole online setup yet, but... They are getting there, bro. They are getting there.
Right. I definitely agree. This is a whole other aspect to the Direct that I didn't even think to cover in my video. Like, there was a lot of hey guys, want to do a beta? Want to do a beta? Want to do a beta? And I was like, But for some reason, I didn't cover that. That's very important because I think when it comes to the stuff that Nintendo is catching up on, I'm so glad that they did the preloading thing. I think they did something of the sort on the 3DS where you could preload the game ahead of time. I'm not. The other consoles do it, and I'm glad that Nintendo is doing it now because people usually don't expect that. So yeah.
Cool. So, is there anything else we want to add to, I guess, the overall Switch discussion before we check out the chat briefly before we move on to the big one, the big super awesome topic that is Smash Brothers? Okay, we're good. We are clearly good. We are clearly good. So, I'm not going to really speak to the arguments in the chat. Guys, just be nice. Okay? I want good community here. But, yeah. I know all of you guys are excited to see Smash. So, I'm just going to kind of jump into that, guys. I'm at a loss for words because, I legitimately was super hyped for this announcement. And we had a little, on Brandon's channel, we had a little discussion, semi-predicting what we may see. And I was not 100% right, no. But, I thought there might be a possibility, just a possibility they might, show off one big game, right? And they did. But the thing is, at the end of the Direct, when they're showing off the Splatoon stuff, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect the Octo expansion. And then, because when you watch the Direct, they show, different, topics they're going to get to, right? So they made it look like there was nothing else after Splatoon. And they literally said, okay, we're done. And then the other guy's, looks at him and was like, wait, are you sure? It's like, oh, wait, yeah, that's right. One more announcement. And then they show off some more Splatoon stuff, clearly in the vein of the original Splatoon trailer. And, I was like, no. There's no way. They're already done with Splatoon. Why would they be showing more Splatoon, man? And, you just check out my reaction, I was floored, and it was like, oh, it has to be Smash Brothers. It has to be Smash Brothers. And, it was Smash Brothers. And the way they presented it was so cool to me, because it wasn't just, the Wii U Smash Brothers. And here's the thing. I was excited about the Wii U Smash Brothers going into it, but, honestly, of all the Smash Brothers games, even though I think the mechanics in Smash for Wii U are really good, the overall game, the modes and such, I feel are a little lackluster compared to previous entries, personally. The characters, the graphics, the music were all great. It's just kind of the modes that I just didn't think were that fantastic this time around. But this game, there's something about the presentation of it that just seems more, epic, the mystique to it. You can even pay attention to the music. It has a bit more of a mysterious sort of, legendary allure to it, if you ask me. And, it was just seeing the Inkling girl, look at the giant emblem, and then seeing, Link, right? Breath of the Wild Link, which looks amazing, and then seeing Mario, and then seeing the silhouettes of the other characters, I thought was epic. And then seeing that 2018 date drop, I'm still thinking this is, a September release for Nintendo's online service. I'm excited about this, guys. What are your immediate opinions on this? Because there's a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. My reaction for this was just exploding with hype. I couldn't contain myself. I was absolutely freaking out. Literally almost fell out of my chair here at live. So it was crazy. I mean, as you said, the way they showed it off was so... It had this epic, like mysterious vibe. The way everyone's faces were kind of shadowed, the way they were kind of standing there like shit's going down, you know, like something big is happening. Kind of, you got this feeling like there's almost a backstory to even the trailer itself. So it was just crazy. It was just absolutely off the charts hype, and I did not expect it at all. I was wrong. I predicted it wouldn't come. I thought they were gonna save it for E3, which kind of makes me hyped for E3 even more, because it's like if you can show Smash Brothers before E3,
They might have another big surprise at E3.
What
Yeah.
awesome stuff do you have to show us at E3? Like if you can hold back Smash Brothers, like that's crazy. And I think it's going to be in September. I think it's going to launch alongside their online service. I predicted this. I predicted this way back. So it was kind of like when everyone was predicting it, I predicted it individually from everyone. It was weird. Like everyone had the idea at like the exact same time. I guess because it just makes so much sense. So yeah, I definitely think it will come out this year, and it's going to be awesome. And I hope it's a new game, because I agree with you what you said about Smash Wii U was like, it had like this awesome skeleton, but then there is like nothing else there. And I think that might have been because they were working on two versions, you know, 3DS, the Wii U, they took away from each other. Now that they only have one version, I think something real big is going to come here. We're going to get something really, really special.
So, Pedro, do you want to go first, or Will? Who's ready to just jump into?
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
I was so excited when it happens. Like, I was watching it with a friend, and we were actually watching it like in a restaurant. So we were just getting food, and we remembered it was happening, and then we like yelled in the restaurant because we were so surprised that it was happening. I was surprised we didn't get kicked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy because we weren't expecting anything. Both of us were saying like, okay, the last announcement is probably going to be like Fire Emblem, because like we've been waiting a year for it now, or so, and like, yeah, so we were waiting on it, and we were expecting Fire Emblem, and then more Splatoon happened. Why it was more Splatoon, and then it happened, and both of us like, we were freaking out. It was incredible, and just like the way that the trailer happened, like, I find it so funny that like with Smash Wii U, the trailer like opened up with like a harmless little letter like coming in, and this time it's giant death fireball ritual of welcome to Smash Brothers. Like,
Welcome to Smash. Now you're in hell.
Right.
There is no escape. Hail Sakurai. But
Right,
it was and just like, I'm hoping that this one has a subspace emissary or something in the same vein, because that was so good, and I know why they didn't do it with the Wii U one, but they should.
They're crazy, that's why.
Yeah, they better do it.
So, Will, do you want to talk about your immediate like reactions first before we?
Yes, sir, I will. Well, first, when it first came on, I actually, like, my friend, I think, said something. He was like, "Oh, yeah, they said something about Virtual Console." I don't know. He's an idiot. He kind of, I think he knew that I wanted Virtual Console. He's like, "Oh yeah, Will, they said something about Virtual Console." I don't know. He I guess it's just a prank, bro. But when they showed Splatoon, and I was like, "Well, it's not Splatoon 1, and it's definitely not more content for Splatoon 2. They just showed us a whole bulk of content, and like they just ended off."
I think Will got cut off.
Thing. Oh. Do we get characters? Rip. What other type of trailer do we see, like characters minding their own business? And then like I'm like, oh yeah, like it's getting really epic. It's definitely.
Yeah, Will's getting cut off, right? Can you guys hear him? Hello?
Yeah, he's gonna.
Yeah, Will, you're getting cut off, bro. I don't know if.
Like that.
Will, can you hear me?
For my just my initial thoughts, I think I really like the.
Will, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You're getting cut off a lot, bro. We haven't really been able to hear you. I don't know what's going on.
I'll be back.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he's probably just going in and out again to fix his whatever connectivity issue. But to your point, Pedro, when you're talking about them maybe bringing back Subspace Emissary, I don't want Subspace Emissary. I think like Subspace. I like the idea of Subspace Emissary, but I think maybe something a bit more concise. You know, like I definitely want like an adventure mode with a narrative, with cutscenes. I want that. So that aspect of Subspace Emissary I want, but I want something that's a bit more fluid and not like as like long and drawn out. Maybe kind of more like what we got in Melee. Like there was like an adventure mode, but maybe like each adventure mode is like slightly longer or something, or like every character has like their own individual adventure mode, you know? Or maybe there's like branching paths, so it's even, you can play through once in like 20 to 30 minutes, but if you can go at it with different characters and do different things, you know, there's a lot more different ways it can end and like pan out. I think that might have a little bit more flow. But, you know, ultimately, I want to see those cutscenes. I want to see that narrative. I want that single-player experience that Smash for Wii U kind of lacked.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because I do agree that Subspace Emissary was kind of weird and drawn out and just kind of like had you like forced you to go all over the place, and it wasn't entirely like, it wasn't fluid like you said. But I really like that idea, like in like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, how there's like the arcade mode where every character, I mean, it's not like individualized for each character, there's like a character ending for everybody. I would love to see something like that. It's like every character gets like their own ending to like this story. And if it was like Melee's adventure mode, I think that definitely is what I really want. Subspace Emissary was really cool just because of the fact that it had like a cool narrative and it had all the characters coming together. But I think, yeah, if it was like a Melee adventure mode that was kind of a little personalized for everybody, that would be the best.
I just want to see the Smash characters interacting in really cool, like, cutscenes, like in Subspace Emissary. If they take that part of Subspace Emissary, I don't care what else they do. Like, I don't care if it's like I don't care if it's Smash 64's, you know, adventure mode with some cool cutscenes. Like, that would be good for me. I just want to see the cool ass cutscenes where they're fighting and blowing stuff up, and it's like all these characters interacting in like this really cool, almost anime like story. It was awesome. It's like more of that, please.
Yeah. Am I sounding better?
Yeah, you do. You sound better.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I was gonna round that off by saying I really like the memes that'll sort of come out of this, where there's like really edgy rock music playing, and they're just like, "Wake me up inside." Then you just see Breath of the Wild Link. But yeah, I definitely agree with like what you guys were saying. But also, I would like, I guess, a little better. I mean,
a little bit.
Nintendo's treating their characters like trash, but they aren't. But I'm saying like a lot of their interactions are sort of weird because none of them, they're just mute. Like none of them talk.
So you want a little bit more? Would you want like actual like voices in the whatever cutscenes we get in this next Smash Bros. Game? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe a few voices. I wouldn't mind if Ganondorf had a voice. I wouldn't mind if Master Hand and Rob talk, maybe.
So I don't. I'm not sure. I don't entirely disagree with you, but I also don't 100% agree with you either. I'm like somewhere sort of in between. Like, I think what they could do is maybe kind of like a Mario Odyssey sort of thing, where like, you know, you'll hear like the occasional words here and there, but for the most part, it's just like, you know, grumbles and sound effects. Like, I think that might work a little better and also would be cheaper and easier to do. And on top of that, a lot of fans, you know, there's different characters that don't have a voice yet, like Ganondorf. Like, so it could be really hard to put voices to certain characters. I think, at least in terms of like the fan base and how they'll appreciate the different voices. So if they go for kind of more of like a middle ground sort of thing, where like the Mario Odyssey style, where there's some words here and there, but it's mostly just like kind of grumbles, you know, to the personality of each character, I think that would work better, and it would definitely be less than the sort of mute experience we got from Subspace Emissary and Brawl. That's
I think we need a voice. We need a voice. We need maybe a new villain or something that talks to them, and that sort of like, we need something that sort of invites all of these characters to just not invest into the villain, but again, I think you know what I mean. Like, just pursue this one guy and sort of tie together their interests within him. Like, we need someone to actually the world is going on, because I'm pretty sure like maybe like 30-something% of people had no clue what was going on in Subspace Emissary, and I think I don't really think that was part of the plan. I think they kind of expected us to know. Like a lot of stuff was implied, and I think we need less of it.
So you want a more cohesive narrative.
Right.
Okay.
I think voices, like most of the Smash roster can talk or have talked in their games. Am I not wrong about that? I'm pretty sure that's true. Like most of the characters have talked. So to make every character like grunt because some characters do would be weird.
Well, no, hold on. I'm not saying they should all grunt. I'm just kind of saying like I think you should honor like each character's style. Like Mario doesn't like have full dialogues either, right? It's just a few words here and there. You know, same with Luigi. Link he's a silent hero. You know, I'm not saying to have everyone be like the entire game. I'm just saying a more limited dialogue, I think, in general, probably is the route they will go. That's my opinion on the matter. But I don't think it's going to be a grunt fest. I'm not saying that either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like, because, I mean, you've got Mario and Link, like, these characters that don't talk. They're just silent protagonists. So they sometimes say some things, but, like, in general, they're silent protagonists. But then you've got other characters, like Shulk or Fox or Samus. Like, these characters do have voices and they do talk. So I think it would be reasonable for, like, those characters to be speaking in a story with, like, as long as they don't, like, have Charles Martinet, like, actually, like, giving full dialogue with Mario, I would be so uncomfortable.
Lucario too. Like, I feel like they should, you know, certain heroes got paired in certain groups, etc., etc. At least have one person that sort of talks and adds sort of clue.
So, like, I see what you're saying. So, like, you know, maybe what we should be talking about is kind of, like, every character, they have their own, every character, like, you do what's right to the series. Like, for example, Link, he's a silent hero. Mario is just going to be like, oh, yahoo, or okay, like, but for the most part, he's going to be quiet. And then Star Fox is going to be like, come on, you know, like, he's going to have a few of his, like, spunky little comments. Pikachu's can just be like, Pika, right? You know, like, so, like, and Lucario is actually a Pokemon that can speak.
No. They'll get, I'm blanking on his name right now, but they'll get the Deadpool guy to come in for Smash and be Pikachu.
Right,
but that would be Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Detective Pikachu's not going to get into Smash Brothers. Maybe they'll offer, like, a hat accessory. That's possible.
I think he'd get a different costume. He'd be like an alternate costume.
Yeah.
He might get a.
Like, I think Dr. Mario should be an alternate. Like, I think Lucina should be an alternate costume too.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Dr. Mario is such a clone. Get us Mario Odyssey Mario up in here. Not this Dr. Mario bullshit.
I think that's what they're gonna do. Okay, I'm making a video why Breath of the Wild Link. I think this is like very symbolic. Like Nintendo is trying to say something. Like,
well, I think they're gonna be,
because they haven't really broken the tradition of the generic Twilight Princess Link.
right. I mean,
Most interesting design ever.
I think what they could do is I think they're gonna change Link's moveset. I don't think they're gonna have like two different Links. You know, I think they're gonna change Link's moveset. I think you all agree with me. I don't think they're gonna change it like 100%, but I think they're gonna like. He's going to see significant changes to represent his Breath of the Wild moveset. And then maybe they could have, like, alternate costumes. Like, one could be Hero of Time Link, one could be Twilight Princess Link, one could be maybe Fierce Deity Link, you know? And maybe a few others are just kind of like costumes you see in Breath of the Wild. But I think that's the route we could go. And on that note, actually, I think we might see, like, for example, like, Marth. Like, I don't think Lucina's going to get her own character slot this time, but what may happen is that Marth may have an alternate where you just play as Lucina. They play the same, but it's Lucina instead of Marth. You know, I think we could see stuff more like that. More actual, like, alternate costumes that are characters that share the same moveset and the same, like, character slot. What do you guys think about that?
Well, as long as they don't get rid of Toon Link.
No, I think he would still be a separate character.
Honestly, I feel like Breath of the Wild Link would just... I don't know, but like you said, that's a good idea, Andres. And they did do that where it's they added Bowser Jr., but all the Koopalings are there, and the actual announcer
Right.
says the different Koopalings. Like that, we should get more of that. Like instead
Yeah.
of just having Mario and Dr. Mario, just have Mario, and when he changes the palette to
Dr. Mario.
just have him. Right. That's it.
Or like my example, Marth, and then Lucina, like that would be cool.
Right.
You know, and that there's a few other characters they could do that with. They could do it for like they could do Samus, and they could have like an alternate Dark Samus, you know, or maybe like they have Samus from the Metroid Prime style, and then they have Samus from like Samus Returns or Other M. Like, and they're just different like alternate costumes, you know, but you kind of honor each one. I think that would work really well, and it's a way to get in more characters without taking up actual movesets and character slots.
Yeah, I think they should do that, and I would like to see them do that. It's because clones are
Like, I think Fox and Falco will still stay separate characters, you know.
Those are like semi-clones.
Yeah,
They
and
have similarities, and they're like the same foundation, but they're different characters.
right, like, but I feel like some characters could get the boot, well, sort of a boot. Like, for example, if they do this idea, right, like Dark Pit from Smash 4 would still be in the game, but he wouldn't have his own character slot. He would just be an alternate with the same moveset as Pit, you know, but he would aesthetically be different, and they would probably announce him as Dark Pit. Like, I think that,
man.
yeah. What do you don't like that?
Comes back.
Oh, Snake.
Oh,
Good luck.
he's one of my favorite video games. Like, I don't know how he was. Like, I don't have any super good memory of how he was in Brawl, but he's just one of my favorite video game characters.
I mean, I think he's really cool, and I kind of miss the fact that I missed him in Smash for Wii U. It's just kind of one of those things where, like, I think it's an issue with Konami, and Konami being a mess, that we may not see.
Put Bomberman R and supported it after release.
Konami is very happy with Nintendo right now, actually. They're extremely happy.
Right, but that doesn't... So, do you think we'll see... I would like to see, like, Simon Belmont from Castlevania. Like, that would be really cool.
That would be cool.
I was a big fan of the Castlevania games on DS. They were so good.
Castlevania?
Castlevania, okay, you know what I was saying.
I was just kidding.
Castlevania. Yeah.
I won't comment. I won't give in to the...
It's fine. But yeah, I would love to see Simon Belmont. I think that'd be really cool. Bomberman's an option, for sure. And then Snake could make a comeback, yeah.
I would like to see the Belmont from the Netflix exclusive series. Is that Simon? No, never mind. It's not him. I know Simon is blonde, isn't he? I would like to see him as a swap, a palette swap of Simon.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. I mean, in fact, like there could be multiple like character palette swaps from Castlevania. You know, they could get a lot of the main Castlevania characters in there. Just they all play the same. Just you know, they look different.
Jeremy, his name is Trevor. But I heard you, Andres. That sounds like I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, should we check to the chat a little bit? Because I hear some people asking about the chat, and we'll get back. Because there's different things we can get to. Actually, there was a question we kind of touched on yesterday, guys. But let me check the chat first. The hype about all the Smash. Yeah, I feel like people want to get Snake. Guys, if you have any questions, just let me know. I don't see any actual questions, though. Oh, okay. Sav64 has a question right now. Shadow or Knuckles for Smash?
Can we get the Ugandan Knuckles? I would rather.
Oh my God! Stop. Like, so I think the Shadow or Knuckles thing, I think, kind of goes to what I was saying. Like, if they go for that sort of like character alternate thing, they could easily. Maybe Knuckles could be a separate character, but considering he's third party, I don't know if they would do that. But maybe like Shadow would definitely be like a good alternate for
I
Sonic.
Shadow running around with a machine gun, just blasting everybody in the face. Like, and
his final.
Oh gosh, he dies. And he's just like, damn, I died.
His final smash, he just gets on a motorcycle and he's like, "Where's that damn Chaos Emerald?"
To all who oppose me.
Anyways, just a shout out to Benjamin and Jeremy. I haven't said hi to you guys yet, or Gaming Daily, or Tatsu Kimishima. I have seen you guys in the chat. Just it's been flowing the discussion. So, but you guys are kind of.
I'd like to see a Smash remix. You know, they remix the songs and stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
The Knuckles from Sonic Adventure. Good lord, we need for them to acknowledge that.
Yeah. So, I want to kind of address, I guess, the question, like the main question of the discussion, right? Is this going to be Smash 5 or is it going to be a port of Smash 4? My personal like opinions on it, like one, the way it was presented, you know, having Breath of the Wild, like having the Inkling Girl, the aesthetic seems different. The feel of it, the music just seems to be playing to a different style than the original Smash Brothers. The way it was just shown off, there was no gameplay. You know, it seemed a lot more like, you know, if it was a port, I feel like they would have shown something more. And I really get the vibes that this is probably more along the lines of a new Smash Brothers rather than a port. But I've been saying for a while that I never thought that the game was just going to be a straight port like a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think it's going to have a lot of new content, maybe an actual narrative like we're sort of talking about now. So I don't know if they're going to call it like Smash 5, but it may have like a different like subheader. It may not just be Super Smash Bros. For Switch, or maybe a bit more to it than that. I feel like it's the way I see it, I think they're going to kind of take advantage of what they accomplished on the Wii U, use the engine, but update it significantly, put tons of new characters, new modes, new music, new feel, new atmosphere, a new narrative. Like, it's going to be a new Smash Bros. Game, but I feel like they may at least be using the engine from the Wii U and just updating a lot, which that still means it's a new game. In fact, I mean, we have new Assassin's Creed every year, right? But they're all running on the same engine, the same for Call of Duty. I think this might be something similar here as well.
We will get. I think a lot of people don't really get it, and like you said, Andres, they kind of just see it. Oh man, port. It's the engine port. It's a port. It's a port. Even though ports aren't bad, but they're just like, oh man, it's a port. It's the same engine port. We're gonna get more Smash games more often. This is a console with a 10-year lifespan, and Smash is out in the second year of it. So I think we're gonna get a lot more frequent entries in series of Nintendo's. Thanks to what they're doing now, the more efficient way to make games, I feel like.
Well, I mean, I don't think they'll see another Smash Brothers game on Switch, but I think we're going to get it now, and it'll be updated throughout the life cycle of the Switch.
10 years? Smash being supported for 10 years?
Well, I don't think the Switch is going to be the singular platform for 10 years. I think it might be 6 or 7 years, maybe 8 at most.
I think a Switch 2.0 could keep the Switch brand alive for 10 years.
Right, but that doesn't mean there won't be a new generation.
Yeah, I don't think this current model of Switch is going to last 10 years.
I don't know. They're using the same. I don't know. We're getting into speculation, and I kind of don't really like, because there's no point in arguing speculation.
All right. Getting off topic. Back to the topic.
Yeah, I mean, just, yeah, but, like, Will, like, you agree with me that, like, I think it could be using the Wii U engine, but that doesn't mean it's a sequel. It's like they're gonna take that engine and improve upon it significantly. It's not a port. It's gonna be a new Smash Bros. Game. That's my impression at least. Pedro, Brandon, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it will not be a port, but I do not think that things from the Wii U and the 3DS can't be ported to the game, and it still be a new game. Every Smash Bros. Game has content from older Smash Bros. Games, even though it's a new game. So I think even if it does use the Wii U and 3DS as a base, that doesn't mean it's not a new game. If they add a new single player, if they add a bunch of new modes, if they add new characters, if they update the graphics, that's literally like the same thing they do for new Smash Bros. Games. That's what it is. So I don't like these people who still refer to it as just the port if they do all that. No, it's not just the port. This is what they do. Literally every Smash Brothers game is like this. They have content from the old one, they bring it back, they remix it a little bit, maybe add some better graphics, and then they add new stuff. I think that's what's going to happen here. I think they're going to make the best of the Wii U, the best of 3DS, they're going to port that to this new game, and then they're going to add a whole bunch of new stuff. That's what they do for every Smash.
I just hope it has Corneria. Like,
Bring back Sector Z from...
I mean, I'm down with them bringing back a whole bunch of stages, but, like, Corneria is, like, one of my favorite stages ever, and to not see it on the Wii U version, I thought was so weird. Like, of all the stages you wouldn't put in the Wii U version, that one really, like, you know what I mean? Are you guys in agreement here? Like, am I the only one that like has played a lot of Corneria with a lot of other people? Like, I felt like that was like a fan favorite.
Oh.
Corneria is like the dumbed down version of Sector Z, in my opinion. Sector Z was so much better.
It's the same stage, really.
It's so much smaller though. It's so small.
It's a really small one that has more lasers.
Yeah, we need Sector Z. It was like the best. Maybe I'm just nostalgic for the N64 one, but
I mean, I like that version too, but you know.
Okay.
Not the N64 game, so.
I feel like Smash will have a very unorthodox name. And
He cut off again. Yep, can't hear Will at all.
I'm gonna.
Nope. Yep, can't hear him. Will, can't hear you.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro.
Rip.
Yeah.
Rip Well 2018.
Yeah.
2018.
Walkable Flamer thinks that this is going to be an Xbox port. He's obviously, yeah. I mean, he's got to be on to something there, you know. Also,
Sabbath have Master Chief, obviously. That's the new character. That's the big new character, is Master Chief.
But I know Will was talking about like the names, and I see Sabbath64 suggesting maybe Super Smash Bros. Vengeance. Maybe Smash Bros. Will be back with a vengeance. That's kind of cool. Benjamin saying that it could be kind of a name that's along the fighting. I mean, Melee, Brawl. They could do something like that, like Super Smash Bros. Duke'em. No.
I'm really hoping for Super Smash Bros. Kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle. Super Smash Bros. Duke Nukem. That's it.
Or just Scuffle, which doesn't sound too cool.
Fisticuffs?
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. That's a good one. Good one.
Or maybe Super Smash Brothers Budokai Tenkaichi. Like, yeah. Actually, did you guys see? I saw it on Twitter because of Will. But like, who was it? The Funimation, I think. There was some big anime. There was some big anime like Twitter account that tweeted at Nintendo of America suggesting that Goku finally, joined the fight for Smash Brothers, and it's kind of interesting. It was Funimation, right?
Yeah, it's Funimation.
Yeah.
Oh, when you gonna give our boy Goku a shot? It was so funny.
Yeah. It was interesting to read like the thread on that on Twitter there, because like you had people like, oh, this would be amazing, finally, is this actually a sign that's going to happen? And there are other people like, no, he's not a video game character, he shouldn't be on there. So what do you guys think?
No, it's just I'm just shooting my shot. I'm just playing around. I'm like, oh yeah, and then just add Nintendo because Smash exists.
Will, you sound really robotic right now.
You are a robot.
Yeah.
Robot Will.
Yeah, man, the connection's just hating on you right now, bro. But Pedro, Brandon, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that that there's any like water here? Do you think this could happen? Do you think it's not gonna happen? Would you guys hate it? Would you guys love it? What do you think about Goku maybe coming?
Really enough fan demand for it. It's a possibility. But most people, I think, say Goku for Smash as a joke.
Right.
But still, I think it is a possibility, but not a very likely one.
Okay. What do you think, Brandon?
I think, it doesn't. I agree with the possibility is not that high, but as far as if I would want him, yes, he's cool. He has all these cool moves. He looks super awesome, and he's iconic. He should be in there.
I mean, he's a part of the cast that's representing the Olympics, like alongside Mario. So like, if there was ever going to be a manga/anime character that would be in Smash Brothers, the only option would be Goku, right? But he still is not originally a video game character, and because of that, he would kind of be separate from everyone else who would be in the game. So like, if he were to be added, I think Goku would have to be the exception. I don't think they could ever like bring in someone else. Of course, if you bring in Goku, for everyone else, I kind of feel like that would open the door for other characters like Naruto and Luffy, and
Bring on, open the door.
I don't.
We want some more hype Smash characters. More
But there's
hype
so
Smash
many
characters.
video game characters out there that still haven't made the cut that, probably that people are going to want in there as well. But, if it's just Goku, I would love that. I feel like it makes so much sense because Goku's character, he's like, oh, Smash Invitation, a whole bunch of unique fighters from a different world. He would love that opportunity, you know what I mean? Because that's his personality, to just always find new people to fight who have different fighting styles. He would love that. And, I think they would have to scale him down, obviously, right? Maybe they kind of do more like the beginning of Dragon Ball Z Goku, right? Maybe even give him, his, his red pulled and Eumbo or something. That'd be really cool. But, we'll see what happens. There is a lot of hype there. There'd be a lot of money to be made if he was, a DLC character. There's a Dragon Ball movie coming out. There's Super. There's so much publicity around it and the Olympics, they could use this as another, publicity stunt, right? For the Dragon Ball franchise, for the Smash Bros. Franchise, it would make a lot of money, at least. I think we could all agree it would make a lot of money, so I would like to see it, but, I know some people are still sticklers for, purists and don't want even Goku to be in the cast.
I'm a little bit curious because I'm still I'm still over here trying to because I still want Andy from Advance Wars, Isaac from Golden Sun,
yeah,
Chibi Robo.
Right.
There's all these Nintendo characters that still need to be in.
Waluigi.
Waluigi, King K. Rool.
Oh god.
Yeah.
All these
Meta Ridley.
Ridley.
I feel like
Silex.
Fighting for these other characters from way out of left field, and
That makes
it's
sense.
I just want to see some of my Nintendo characters. I would love to see Goku as a DLC. That would be very cool.
Yeah, I don't think he should be a part of the main cast at all. Yeah, DLC is I feel like if it happens, that's when it would happen.
Yeah.
Oh, he. Can't worry about anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. It'd be cool as an assist because I think I agree with how did I forget his name that fast?
Pedro?
Maybe Pedro.
Pedro. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brendan. I think I agree with him in which there are I feel like there are a lot of Nintendo characters that would work, first of all, a lot better and wouldn't have to be scaled down. And secondly, there are a lot of people that think Smash is just the ultimate gaming celebration and would like PlayStation centric people to be in it. Like Crash just got confirmed. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Crash 100%.
Oh yeah, Crash might have a chance.
Sans
for Smash.
I've even heard people talk about a Dark Souls character, which I don't know if that would fit, but it's possible, I guess. So Hades added me.
Dark Souls character would get in. I feel like there's not this one big. I don't know too much about Dark Souls, but in my experience,
Skull Lair Amiibo was already a thing. So.
Right. But I feel
Right.
other than him, I don't think there's this one big iconic character. Because isn't your player character customizable?
Yeah, I think Soul Lair is
an
the
avatar.
closest thing to the face of Dark Souls.
Yeah, so it would be funny.
It would be
if
funny,
you did it. If he got in and because if he was really powerful, but he died in 3 hits.
Oh, because it's just the style of Dark Souls. Every hit just does 30-40%. That'd be interesting, for real. Yeah. So, just a couple things in the chat before we continue on. Let me see. So, Hades19, how you doing, man? Just asked me, do you think Smash 5 will have every playable character from every Smash game and then extras? I like how he said Smash 5, immediately assumed new Smash Brothers. Cool. Every playable character from every Smash game and then extras. Every single one... I feel like there's gonna be a couple that aren't gonna make the cut, but we were talking about earlier, I feel like if they really sort of do that whole alternate costume thing, I think they could really get in most of the characters that way, without taking up a lot of character slots. So I think there's a chance that we'll get most of them, if not almost all of them represented in some way. But I mean, maybe for example, Pichu. I don't think there's any hope of Pichu, making the cut. You know what I mean? But there's going to be a couple that I don't think will make it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think there won't all make them. I think there will be a couple characters that dropped out. I mean, there's so much question around whether Snake will come back or not. I think if any character doesn't come back, Snake's not going to come back. So like to get every character from every other Smash game, that'd be hard.
Young Link is definitely not coming back. Pichu's probably not either.
Yeah, so I would like Young
Well,
Link.
Mewtwo came back through DLC on Smash for Wii U, so you know, but he was a unique character, and Roy is awesome.
Yes, thank you.
With the DLC, maybe it could all be in there.
Right, I mean, with DLC, it opens up the options for so many other characters, you know?
Been in Smash before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I saw some...
Can Ice Climbers come back?
I think Ice Climbers has to come back. I think the only reason they literally, the only reason they weren't in Smash for Wii U is because the 3DS sucks, you know?
They, like, actually had them working on the Wii U version. And then when they tried to port it to the 3DS, they're like, this is gonna happen.
It would cause too much issues with performance, I think. Yeah.
Same asset. They got the assets. If they already had them up and running,
right? Yeah,
that could work.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ice Climbers was probably, for the most part, already prepared. They couldn't. They wanted, like, you know, parity between both systems, so they couldn't be in the Wii U version. So I heard, who was it? I thought it was really cool. Who was it? Damn, I can't see. Control. I'm gonna control left this. Oh, there we go. Sabbath. Well, first of all, Jeremy Benz is saying Rex Pyra is going to be his main. I think they are shoe-in for this game. Rex Pyra, maybe Rex/Pyra/Mithra as one collective character. Like, you could swap between Mithra and Pyra, but they'd be kind of like an Ice Climber sort of thing, where, you know, Rex does most of the moves, but the specials would be Rex or Pyra. That'd be really cool, for sure.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the best-selling by far, like, sold way better than...
Right, it deserves more representation. Xenoblade's finally, like, making it in there as a serious Nintendo franchise. It's time to go ham, put out that Smash Bros. Character, announce there's Xenoblade in a year or two, and,
you know, for even a month, and none of the games have gone to 1 million in their entire lifetime, so...
Yeah.
I just hope Shulk doesn't get replaced. I love Shulk in Smash Wii U, and I hope he stays. And I also hope that Rex comes in, like, and they're together.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see both as well. I think they both deserve a slot. Their games are great in their own rights. But I mean, you know, the fact that you even mention it, you know, this shows that you're a little scared that they might not even bring him. I think there's some truth there. There's a possibility they might not bring him. We don't really know if they're going to be kind of like in the really, we should cut some characters sort of thing, right? I don't want him to go. I think he's a unique character that deserves to be in the roster, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think they'll cut him.
I would say he's more likely than not going to be in the game, but it's not a shoo-in. So who was it? Sabbath64 is suggesting maybe Blastoise. So here's a cool idea. What if there's Pokemon Trainer. So there's two different ways that we take this. One, Pokemon Trainer had Ivysaur, Squirtle, and Charizard, and those characters were all taken away from Smash for Wii U because the idea of having multiple characters on screen created issues, you know, for the 3DS version. So that may have been why we didn't see Pokemon Trainer, just Charizard. And I loved having Charizard as his own character. So either A, do we see the return of Pokemon Trainer where you cycle between like 3 different Pokemon, or do we see maybe a Blastoise as an individual character, or Charizard as an individual character, and then by extension maybe Venusaur as an individual Pokemon? What would you guys want to see?
Yeah, to your point, I think they said all those types of characters that can like change, like Zelda to Sheik and all that kind of stuff, those are all taken out because of the 3DS version. So you might see stuff like that come back. So
Sheik and Zelda might be recombined as one character, you think?
Yeah, they could.
It's possible. I hope they don't. I hope they keep them as separate characters.
I don't know. I personally feel like it's better if they're separate. I'm not sure. I know, like, I guess they sort of did it because of the restraints of the 3DS, but I think it actually ended up working for them. I don't know.
Right. I think aside from losing Ice Climbers, I think it made a lot of sense. I like having Sheik and Zelda as separate characters. I liked having Charizard as a separate character. I was upset that we didn't get to see Ivysaur in the games. I actually really liked Ivysaur's attacks in Brawl, like his B special where he just shot the seeds up. It was great, like trapping people with that move. I would love to see maybe those Pokemon come back, or maybe they get their evolutions like Venusaur and Blastoise in there. That'd be interesting to me. Or different Pokemon starters. I've heard Decidueye. Mahdi suggested, Scizor earlier. Like, those are other options as well. I think there's more reason to have Pokemon in the game than, say, a whole bunch of new Fire Emblem characters, because a lot of the Fire Emblem characters are kind of similar design-wise, but there are, at least with Pokemon, like, they can all be very distinctive, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think the other problem is, like, all the popular Fire Emblem characters, they're all, like, sword users. Like, there are other Fire Emblem characters they could pull that would play differently, but they're not as popular. So
I mean, just now there was that. I mean, I don't know if y'all pay attention to like Fire Emblem Heroes, the mobile game, but they just did a popularity poll, and the winners were these two characters, Hector and Ephraim, and neither of those characters use swords. So I think those two are, but they would be cool additions to the game.
Yeah, non-sword characters, a Lancer and an Axe user would be really cool.
Like if we were to get another Fire Emblem representative, I wouldn't want it to be like Alm from the new game, because he's just another sword user, but I would be interested in seeing something that wasn't a sword user.
Okay. So, I mean, to that point, though, let's talk about Fire Emblem characters, because, like, you know, Benjamin's saying they should cut half of the Fire Emblem characters. Who makes it and who doesn't make it? Like,
part of me wants to say that Marth can go, but Marth is like pretty much confirmed, and he's like the face of the series.
Right, and I think I could kind of make them out in the silhouettes, but it could be someone else because, you know, humanoid characters all look similar.
yeah, I thought
I can go.
Who?
Lucina and Robin.
Lucina can definitely. Robin, I liked Robin, but I think Robin can go.
Well,
I like Lucina.
I like Lucina too, but like, you know, like I mentioned earlier, what if they just Lucina doesn't take a character slot anymore and she's just literally a clone of Marth, but she's just an alternate costume now? Like, that could be a way to cut the Fire Emblem characters, but they're still represented as just being alternate costumes. Maybe Roy becomes an alternate for Marth, even though he does play differently, but, you know, if you're going to have to cut some Fire Emblem characters. Chrome...
Literally everyone wanted Chrome.
But he wasn't...
Like, he couldn't even get him a costume. Like, we should have more.
Maybe he find
themed after characters.
Maybe yeah. So yeah, I didn't even get the DLC Fire Emblem character because I even, you know, who I thought we might see Fire Emblem sooner than later. But what was it? What was its name? The one that had like dragon abilities, Corrin. So like that character is unique. You think that one will get cut? Yeah.
Probably not.
I think so.
I honestly, as much as I liked playing as Corrin in Smash, I think Corrin should be cut.
Okay.
I think that she is going to be cut.
Yeah.
No, not the most unique Fire Emblem character in the roster.
Because when you think about it, they kind of only added her as a marketing strategy.
Yeah.
And then,
like, not because they were popular.
Right.
I hear you. Okay, I mean, yeah, but maybe they'll have someone who takes a similar role, though, instead.
Right, like the new Fire Emblem protagonist or something like that. Who knows, honestly.
Yeah, but it was a unique character, though, so I don't know. You know, it could be one of those things where it becomes a DLC character, right? Where maybe, like, the main cast, like, it's the popular ones, right? But maybe some of those more characters that aren't so popular, but maybe are more unique movesets, like, you know, I don't even know the name of that character, right? But, Robin, right? It's Robin?
Yeah, it's Robin.
Yeah, it could maybe...
It's kind of way too, like, speculative for me right now. Like, I feel like no one would have guessed Mewtwo, Bayonetta, Pac-Man, Ryu. Like, I just don't... Like, I think that's way too off the wall, but that definitely could be a cool idea.
So, speaking of DLC, though, not in terms of future DLC, but, like, the DLC we got, do you think it'll all return or no?
Optimally, I think it would all return, and it would just be part of the game. But,
right, like from the get-go.
Yeah, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
I would be disappointed to not see Bayonetta and Cloud make it, or Mewtwo, or Ryu.
Sure, most of the Smash community would not be disappointed to see Bayonetta get cut for what I hear.
Oh yeah, Bayonetta is OP. Everyone hates her.
Well, you just change the character though. Don't cut the character. Change her.
they desperately want Bayonetta to be a part of the Nintendo family. So I just don't see her going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like I'm fully aware that Bayonetta was OP and then they nerfed her and she's still sort of OP and like no one likes her in the Smash community. But I think as far as just being an icon among the Nintendo franchises, I think she's still.
I just think she needs her moveset changed around, but like as an actual character in the game, I think she should be in the game. You know.
Right,
different. Yeah.
I think like she's a combo-oriented character. She's Dante from Devil May Cry. Like she.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna be hard, but I think like Nintendo is the kings of creativity, so I think they could do something with that.
I'm worried that Cloud won't come back.
I want Cloud to come back. I mean, Benjamin. I've heard a lot of people suggest it. Benjamin suggested as well that Cloud will be cut. I don't want. I don't want him to be cut.
I don't think he'd be cut.
Like Final Fantasy VII, the remake is still in development.
Yeah, and there's still the rumors. The rumors that there'll be a Switch version still exist. I mean, you know, like I don't.
Yeah, so I don't see him getting it.
Right, like right now, Nintendo are like thick as thieves right now. Like they are actively trying to get Final Fantasy 15 on the Switch as we speak. I mean, who knows how successful they are at it, but they're like, Square Enix really wants to support the Switch. So, I mean, I could see it. Like, I don't think he'd be cut.
And I think Cloud's like their most popular character. Am I wrong? Does anyone disagree with that?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure there. Right. I'm sure there are other options, but they already have the character in the game. So, like, you know, why not bring? If they're gonna have representation, you know, why take him out? I think he's really cool. I'd be sad to not have him back personally. So.
Arguably, he's like the face of just JRPGs in general. He might just be like one of the
old era, like old era Japanese RPGs for sure. Yeah, I mean we'll see, right? Yeah. So a couple questions in the chat actually. I think if any DLC character, Pac-Man's not a DLC character, but I think Pac-Man has a decent shot at coming back. It's Pac-Man. He's iconic, and his moveset was unique.
Very iconic. There's no way he's not coming back, I think.
And even if like Bandai Namco isn't developing it,
they have a great relationship with Nintendo.
Yeah,
and like they're rumored to be developing Metroid Prime 4. Like that would just be like spitting in the face of your, you know, the hand that feeds you, just biting the hand that feeds you, sort of. Anyone, even Pac-Man, just would be excited to be in Smash.
So here's a question that's slightly different from characters, and we'll probably get back to characters in a moment. But who was it? I literally just saw it. It was a 1080p 60 FPS question. Who was it that asked? Someone asked it. Oh yeah, Jeremy was asking.
I was actually telling you, but I forgot it was you.
Oh yeah, Jeremy was asking. Is the Smash Bros gonna be 1080p 60 FPS or 30 FPS? So Smash for Wii was 1080p 60 frames per second. So Switch is better, so it's gonna still be 1080p 60 frames per second.
This is a non-question. If they went back to 30 frames per second, the community would literally storm Nintendo and burn them to the
isn't
ground.
like every Smash Bros game 60 frames per second, except maybe the N64 version?
They've all been 60 frames except the N64. So
the 3DS one was 60 frames per second too. It was the full resolution of the 3DS in 60 frames.
Right. So it's more of a. I mean, if anything, it's more of a resolution question than a frame rate question. But if the Wii U version was 1080p, I have a hard time imagining them not making the Switch version to also 1080p 60 FPS.
Absolutely mind-blowing graphical jump. There's no way it's not gonna be 1080p 60 FPS.
And the Wii U was what, a 720p system? So they kind of like
90% of games on that system was 720p 30 FPS, and that game came out 1080p 60. Like, there's no way they're going to be anything less than that.
Right. But I mean, to that point though, right? Something that was, I guess, kind of impressive about the Wii version, they would manage to be a game that was 1080p, 60 frames per second, and had 8-player Smash Brothers. 8-player Smash. That's a mode that I personally wouldn't care if it was not in this Smash Bros. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah. I never used it. It was way
because you have no friends.
I literally couldn't tell what the heck was going on at any time.
A party thing.
Yeah,
they just made the stages really, really long. And
yeah, I ran in high school our video game club, and we would have 8-player Smash all the time. we would have 8 people playing at once, and that was the only time I ever used it, because otherwise it was just not worth it.
Yeah, and I have a hard time believing it'll be featured online either. I mean, they're probably going to focus on getting 4-player to work really well. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like any of you guys really care about it too much. I mean, I tried it out a few times, but, I mean, 4-player is fine. Yeah. I did like in Brawl it could come back, because if it's already in the game, it's already part of the framework. If it's not hard to implement, I don't see why they wouldn't. But if they wanted to focus on really improving the graphics, they could take it out.
The Joy-Con just have a better battery life than the Wii remotes.
Yeah.
Just in general.
True.
20 hours per Joy-Con, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no batteries required. So I think, it would be better on the Switch, but I wouldn't use it.
But what do you guys think about my point, though, right? Like, if they were... Because 8-player mode is obviously more demanding than 4-player mode. That's why you can only use 8-player mode on certain stages. But if they were to strike 8-player mode entirely, they could perhaps put a little bit more effort into improving the graphics a little bit more, right? So, I mean, they already have the game running at 1080p 60F, so maintain that, but strike away 8-player mode and just focus on improving, like, the lighting, maybe slightly better textures, better looking hair, and, like, more particle effects. And I think the game would... look noticeably better.
Yeah, I don't know if they even need to cut 8-player Smash for that, honestly, just because, I mean, we use 1080p 60 FPS. The Switch is just way more powerful than the Wii U, so they could probably add a bunch of that stuff without even having to take away 8-player Smash. So I'm not sure if they would, just because...
Right, they may not need to.
I don't know. I think it depends on how many people use that mode. Like, does Nintendo know how many people actually like that mode? Is that something that they can tell? I don't know. So it's hard to say.
It's also one of those things where most people can't use it, though. Almost certain. Okay. Let me finish my point and let you go, Will. I was just going to say that, 8-player Smash is not even used online, right? And I doubt they'll use it online this time around.
Right.
And barely anyone has more than 4 friends all the time to use it with frequency and the controllers. So it just seems like saying it's not used that often. So I don't think it's going to have a big focus, but they may still have it. What were you going to say, Will?
Right. I think it's definitely going to stay. And even if they were, trying to tackle that better fidelity, I guess, in terms of graphics, I think they could just advertise that 8-player Smash as like a more casual mode and just chop the frame rate in half, honestly. I don't think a casual...
720p.
Right. I don't think a casual would just be like, look at that. It was 29 frames when it was supposed to be 30. Like, I don't think a casual would do that. And by your logic, like, I'd argue that Smash is the most casual fighter out there. So I think that could be used way more than, like, we think. And by that logic, I think, like, a lot of people argue that they should just get rid of items, but, like, that doesn't really make sense.
Getting rid of items would be stupid.
I like items. I mean, if you only care about competitive Smash Brothers, I guess. Yeah, but I mean, there's tons of people who don't only care about competitive Smash Brothers. More people don't only care about competitive Smash. So, like, I would want items, but maybe more scaling options, which it has a pretty decent amount already. Yeah, true. Yeah.
I see no problem with items.
I mean, actually, yeah, they're pretty good about how you control your items. Yeah.
Right.
I guess I remember listening to the Game Explain discussion, and they were talking about having like an alternate like Smash Ball mode or something. So I want to talk about Smash Ball mode, though. I personally would like it. I wouldn't mind if they were to change the way that mechanic works. Like, I like having specials in Smash Brothers, but the way it's designed right now, you can't reasonably expect to see a Smash Ball in most competitive tournaments, right? Or like even like maybe some local tournaments. People are like, oh no, cut that. Oh, cut that, because there's a lot of fluctuation between different characters in their Smash and their specials. But what if they were to sort of change around the specials so it was a little bit more traditional? Where, you can kind of just build up a meter, like, say, Dragon Ball Fighters, and you could use 1 or 2 different kinds of specials, but you also scale down the strength of those specials, so they're way weaker than what we saw, not just Brawl, but even the Smash for Wii, which was already kind of scaled down a little bit. What do you guys think about that?
I don't like that. I didn't like that they scaled them down from Brawl to Wii U, and I would not like them to scale it down again. Maybe have another mode where the smashes work differently. That might be fine. Have a different, different setting or something. But I want them to keep the option to do it as it is, because I loved them in Brawl. I liked them in Smash 4 the way they were. I preferred Brawl though, and I would not like them to change it unless they give me an option. Like as an option, that'd be great, but to completely change it, I wouldn't like that.
I think they'd still ban those from tournaments too, just because it's just something that just gives you almost an unfair edge, so to say. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. Other than that, I would probably just say the same thing Brandon said. So I just think they would still ban it.
I think
Well,
if it's a meter that grows, then that's not unfair because
both people have it.
The meter, so
Right. I mean, there are other competitive.
System.
Right, but
I think that could be accepted into competitive if it was a meter system. But
theoretically
otherwise,
speaking,
Other competitive games have that, So
theoretically speaking, that wouldn't. Like, I feel like that wouldn't require too much skill. Like, you could just, like, as Little Mac, you can just get beat up and your meter would get full.
Well, that's assuming that you build your meter by taking hits. They don't have to do it that way.
Say theoretically speaking.
Yeah.
Theoretically speaking.
If they,
problem.
And I think that
their transformation types final smashes was a thing, and so if all the final smashes were just attacks, then it could be seen as a competitive thing. But because of Little Mac's final smash and Bowser's, where they literally can't die or you can't kill them.
right.
Yeah. Right. Well, so if they were to do it, they would have to overhaul. They would have to change a lot of specials, a lot.
Yeah.
they'd have to generic size, if that's not a word. I'm using it now.
I don't
They'd
see
have
them
to,
doing that.
Yeah, they'd have to make the Smash Balls the Smashes more generic, which then was the point of them. Why do that?
Yeah.
Why, stop making Smash. I feel like that's something they did with the Wii U one. Is they started making Smash more generic. They started going towards this competitive side of Smash and focusing on that, making it much a more generic experience in just in pretty much every way.
It's
the
kind
modes, the stages,
I would
very generic.
to that point though. I did love that they had an Omega mode for every different stage.
Yeah, that was fine.
But also, and I also heard this in Game Explain discussion, which I thought was a good idea. The idea that you can still have the stages with the platforms and the some obstacles, but have an option to turn off some of the bosses inside those stages.
Yes, please.
Because there are some stages I like having platforms. One of the reasons I like Corneria, right? Corneria doesn't have a whole bunch of crazy stuff happening for the most part, but it's not a straight flat stage either. So there's some variance with it. There's different strategies you do on Corneria that are different from Final Destination. But it also, it's not so crazy that there's a lot of hacks involved or luck involved either.
Y'all ever played Super Smash Flash 2?
No.
I played the original Super Smash Bros.
Okay, because Super Smash Flash 2, I haven't played it in forever, but I remember that one of the settings they had was that you could play all of the levels as they were, but there was just an option to turn off obstacles and stuff. So anything that would just give random damage or any bosses or anything like that, you could just turn it off. And I think that would be a good setting to have in the actual game.
Which, it also makes sense, right? Smash Bros. Has a whole bunch of customization already. Just continue down that path, more customization.
I would there's something that I thought of earlier and I forgot, but I got it. Okay, so you know how in the Wii U Smash 3DS, if certain characters fight each other, their little outro, their little victory animation, there will sometimes be a special dialogue of what they say. Or, okay, if you beat Lucina as male or female Robin, they'll say, how can you protect your father if you can't even protect yourself? More dialogue, stuff like that. If you played Injustice 2, the intros and stuff, they have a lot of dialogue going on. I think we need a little more of that, or at least as much as we can.
I agree with you there.
Right.
I really want to see more of that interaction and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Between the characters. I would especially love to see it because so far it's only been Palutena talking to other Kid Icarus characters or Lucina
it's
and Robin not talking to other Fire Emblem characters. I want to see stuff that's like cross.
What would Mario say to Link, or like what would Ganondorf say to Bowser, like stuff like that. Like it really, I love the idea. Actually, it's kind of like what they did in Dragon Ball Fighters. Like they showed interactions that would never happen, and there were these cutscenes. Like for example, Yamcha actually beating Nappa. Or like what would Trunks say to Gotenks? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that would never happen in the show. Like offer some of these interactions. When you beat someone, it's a great idea. I love that. It would be so cool.
They took that more from Mortal Kombat and Injustice, but yeah, I know what you're talking.
It's just an example,
I saw that. Yeah, definitely. I saw this one where Cell was talking to Frieza, and Frieza was like, "Oh, I promised I'd make you scream," and he's like, "You couldn't even beat Trunks. What makes you think you can beat me?" I was like, "Man."
Yeah, like stuff like that would be amazing. Or like what if like Waluigi's made a fighter, right? And like Luigi beats Waluigi, he's like, huh, you don't even have your own game like me, or Waluigi's like, at least I'm not a scaredy pants, like you. Like that sort of element would be really cool.
That would be amazing.
Benjamin thinks there should be the actual intros like Injustice 2 and Fighter Z. I mean, I don't know. They kind of just appear on the stage at the camera angle. That wouldn't be very interesting or dynamic. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So, what was I gonna say? Let me just double check what's in the chat. Apparently, Jeremy's gonna shower. Okay, good to know.
How do you know, Sam?
Maybe they're friends.
I don't know. No, wait, I think Savage is going to shower and he's talking to Jeremy.
Oh, well, there you go.
Plot twist.
Yeah. So actually, Jeremy's asked us a couple times. I didn't get a chance to get to it, but he's asking about the file size of the game. What do we think with the file size of the game? I think it would probably be bigger than Smash for Wii U. Bigger than the Wii U version, but it's a good question to look up.
Smash Wii U byte file size. There you go.
That's actually an interesting question.
15.6 gigabytes.
And the thing is, Smash is always huge. Like the Brawl was like one of the first games to be like a dual layer disc on Wii, right? And for those who don't know, when a dual layer disc, it means like basically twice the memory of like a normal disc because it has 2 layers. And that game's loading, like Brawl had really slow loading because of the amount of content that had to be read through. It was, it maybe, I don't know how, it was one of the biggest Wii games by far, and Smash for Wii was also huge. I mean, think about all the music, think about the cutscenes and all, the modes, the items, the characters, like their stages, like there's so much there. I could see at least Nintendo using like the 32 gigabyte card for this game. Heck, I mean, I've heard the mumblings of like Rockstar complaining about Nintendo not having the 64 card available for Grand Theft Auto. So what if like this Smash Bros. Game forces Nintendo to like bring out the 64 gigabyte card, and if they actually use like a lot of voice acting, like you were talking about earlier, Will, that's gonna bump up the amount of data they need to have for that game. So, I mean, I think at least they're going to need a 32 gigabyte card for this. I wouldn't be shocked if they...
64 gigabyte.
Right, what if they ended up getting it out in time for, obviously, Smash, if it's that big?
I saw some articles. I didn't read into them too much. I probably should have, but apparently there's some kind of technical issue that they're dealing with to get 64 gigabyte cards. I don't know if that's lack of like memory available, because there is like this whole memory apocalypse going on right now with just, like that kind of stuff being hard to find. So it might be that, or it might just be how to get that much space storage cheap.
That might be the one thing, just the one tiny little aspect about the Switch that I kind of sort of, not that I don't like it, but I know like it just can be improved. Just some internal stuff with it, like Kimishima commented, he's like, yeah, I know the people that make the parts and stuff. I know they could be working faster and stuff. They're not working as fast as they could be and stuff. Like, I just feel like once they fix all of that, they will go all in on the Switch, and the 3DS will just be used.
Yeah, you know, it'd be interesting, like, if... No, I was just going to say, it would be interesting if in the future, right, like, Nintendo starts releasing every Switch with, like, a micro SD card inside of it to further expand the memory out of the box, you know? Like, that, you know, like, obviously, like, you know, instead of just, you don't, because if you can't, you know, change, well, you could technically change the amount of internal memory, right? But if you just offer people a micro SD card out of the box, you know, that's a way to kind of solve some of the memory problems. You know, I mean, they did that with the 3DS for a little while. They had a micro SD card for some of the 3DSs.
Yeah, it's the memory is the included memory. At least is just bad. Like, I mean, it does the job, especially like for a lot of the games. But a lot of these, like, oh yeah, you can download the first half. Like, you can get the physical part, and then you got to download the whole second half. And I don't know, it's weird. It's like the whole Mega Man thing and then Bayonetta and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that since the Switch is portable, it has to use an SSD. Nothing else is like a hard drive is not small enough, and SSDs are way more expensive than hard drives. So like even a 500 gigabyte, or you see these 500 gigabyte, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, hard drives in the Xbox Ones. Yet those hard drives are like $50 for a consumer. An SSD of that size is like $300-400. Like, you gotta understand, these are not cheap. That's why we don't see it, because it's expensive.
It's also not portable.
Yeah, no, you can't port. Yeah, you can't get a. That's what I'm saying. They have to go with SSDs instead of hard drives, and SSDs are just super expensive.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we all agree the game's gonna be bigger, and it's gonna be one of those games that you may not be able to download unless you buy a big micro SD card. But I mean that's I guess one of the issues of the Switch, that it doesn't come with a lot of memory out of the box, but a micro SD card, you can solve most of those problems. And I'm gonna get the cartridge for this game. It's one of those games that I'm gonna get a cartridge for. But yeah, it's gonna be one of the bigger Switch games. I guarantee it. It's gonna be bigger than the Wii U version. So Jeremy is asking. We're gonna say, well.
Oh, I just wanted to say, and for the record, I don't think like the memory thing is just a huge problem, because I know some people are like, "Oh man, we'll hate the Switch now." I don't think it's a huge problem. Like, I feel like after Virtual Console launches, a lot of people are just gonna be downloading games, and just by the end of that, like, no one's gonna care.
Right. I mean, people are gonna have to get micro SD cards eventually, anyway. So
I still don't have one.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a big one. I have some in my house, because I have micro SD cards, but like I haven't gotten ones for my Switch yet. I'm kind of waiting for like a decent price for the 256 gig, because I'm in it for the long haul with the Switch. But we'll see.
Right.
So there's some things in the chat I want to get to. So one, Jeremy Benz is asking me, and what about Nintendo, you, Brandon, about a Pro controller. Wait, he says need a what about Nintendo AndresRestart Pro controller. Are you asking for a branded Pro controller? Yo, yeah. Hey, actually, you know what? If I become a big YouTuber and I could actually offer like actual like hardware stuff, I wouldn't mind like getting like the black Pro controller and signing it with like white ink with my signature. That'd be pretty cool if people actually cared about that. But I'm not famous, so probably not.
Custom.
Yeah.
You get one custom made.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
That would be cool. Like, it would,
or at least stickers, or at least like I could at least like ship out stickers. Like if you sign up for my Patreon, I could give you guys like stickers with like my signature, so you could just put it on your hardware. That'd be cool if you guys cared about that. So we'll see. Let me see. There's some people in the chat. Fast Sniper, hello to you. Black Mickey, please craft Shank.
What?
I don't know.
No.
Who's that?
It doesn't matter if it's a port, you'll still get new chargers. Yeah.
New chargers?
Yeah, characters. He meant characters. Yeah, Homestuck fan. I mean, we're gonna get new characters either way. I don't really think it's gonna be a port like deluxe version. I think it's at least gonna be, it's gonna feel like pretty much like a new game, anyways.
It's gonna feel like a new game, but it's gonna have some content from the Wii and 3DS. They do that like every Smash, as I said before.
Personally, I feel like they wouldn't have like made this whole cinematic and all of that stuff, and just put Super Smash Brothers. That's it. If it was like a port.
Yeah.
And they definitely would have changed the logo.
Right. Yeah. I think they would have. They exactly. I think most people kind of agree with that point that they would have shown like gameplay, just like, oh yeah, look, it has some new content. Wait for it in a few months. Like, yeah, I think it's more of a new game. You know,
they're not gonna wait till E3 to show a port. So I'm sorry. This is a new game.
Right. So what else wanted to say? I saw something in the chat that was interesting. I kind of missed it. Oh, it was like a long time ago. I don't remember who it was, so I'm sorry. But someone brought up Banjo-Kazooie, and like actually.
That's what it is.
I saw it on Twitter and I like liked it, retweeted it immediately because it was from one of the Microsoft guys. It's like, hey, we would love to have Banjo-Kazooie and Smash Brothers, but then I saw the date; it was 2015, so it's old.
It was the Xbox guy, Phil Spencer,
Right?
president of the Xbox brand.
But I saw the date on it. That was 3 years ago. Yeah, but I mean, we could revisit the topic.
Nintendo and Xbox are still getting along though.
Yeah, I mean, there are some games that there's some like Rocket League. You know, you can play it with any platform.
Right.
So
there have been articles that come out like, oh, Nintendo and Xbox employees compliment each other all the time and stuff.
right, I mean, they have they're not like at each other's throats like Sony. So, you know, I could see Banjo-Kazooie maybe coming in. I would be really cool. I know a lot of people would love that. So. You know, and in fact, it may even improve the branding for the Banjo-Kazooie series for Microsoft. So it could be to both people's benefit. People are going to be like, oh, Banjo-Kazooie, yeah. But it should be a DLC character so Nintendo can get more money out of it.
Also Conker.
Yeah, I mean, Banjo-Kazooie first. I want to see Conker as well. You know.
Someone in the comments.
I didn't say that Banjo-Kazooie shouldn't be there. That's like a given, I feel like. Like, I feel like that.
Yeah, no, but I would also like to see Conker. Yeah, definitely.
Conker, too.
Like, I almost expect Banjo-Kazooie since they're getting along so darn well, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Binns asked if the Joy-Cons have enough buttons to do split Joy-Con play, like on the side, I think is what he means. I think it does. Should, because you could use the Wii remote on its side, and I think that's pretty much the same amount of buttons.
Well, I mean, you don't need that many buttons for Smash Brothers.
Buttons than the Wii remote, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Let's see. You got L, R, A, B.
Yeah. You have 6 buttons and a joystick. That's kind of all you really need. Like, R could be grab, L could be shield, and then, you know, X. I mean, I actually use a control stick to jump, but you could have one of the face buttons also be jump, a special, and then, you know, normal attack. And that still leaves one more button.
The same amount of buttons that 3DS has, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the 3DS.
Yeah. You still have one extra button, actually, so, you know. Yeah. And technically, too, if you can use the joystick to jump, right? And that also doesn't count the clicking the stick. So technically, you could have up to 3 more additional actions with the Joy-Con. Technically. Yeah. And then there's also motion controls, but I don't want motion controls in Smash.
Even without that, there's plenty of buttons. So yeah. You can do split Joy-Con there. Single Joy-Con play.
Oh, Benjamin is asking me if I had to choose Banjo or Crash Bandicoot. Easily Banjo-Kazooie, no question.
Yeah. Banjo,
no question.
Like, way better than Crash.
Okay. Crash is just sort of lame. Like, okay, I played his games, and I'm a fan of his games, but he's not that cool. Like,
yeah, him as a character.
He's just a little off the walls. He's a product of the time. He's not that cool.
Mm-hmm.
At least not Banjo-Kazooie. Maybe I'm biased, actually.
I am definitely biased.
I'm definitely biased because Banjo-Kazooie was a Nintendo character and Crash wasn't. You know.
I like his games better.
But I think like in terms of like critical reception, Banjo-Kazooie, at least during the N64 era, the 90s, was considered to be the better series. In terms of critical reception. So, you know, but there's still tons of Crash.
My reception.
Your reception. But, you know, Crash would still be a great entry, you know. And I'm kind of on the fence about this Crash trilogy. I may give it a try. We'll see. So.
A lot of people didn't really like the Crash trilogy, actually. Because, like, Super Mario 64 just sort of, like, kicked it under the freaking... Just wiped the floor with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to revisit Pyra and Xenoblade 2 because Homestuck fan brought it up. I don't know if you saw what we were talking about earlier, but like he said he would love it if Pyra from Xenoblade 2 was in Smash Brothers. So like we brought it up earlier, but I would like to see like Rex and Pyra being used together, kind of like Ice Climbers. And we didn't talk about a potential final Smash though. So like I would like to see like the final Smash be like the the level 4 special from Rex and Pyra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would it be that, or would it be like?
You can't. They can't.
No.
I don't think what's her face. Oh my god, I forgot her name already. Will be in the game.
She doesn't have a name you choose.
Well, she does, just as a spoiler.
Wait.
You choose what you want her to be called.
Are we talking about? I'm talking about Nia.
About the final form.
Third form. Yeah.
Oh, her.
Doesn't have a name. You choose.
Oh, that.
Which one?
I think burning slash
really cool.
or some combination.
That would be pretty cool, but I think I would rather have the level 4 special, honestly.
Yeah. I guess the thing is that both Pyra and Mithra each have their own level 4 special though.
Yeah.
So is there one where they combine it together? No, they're never on the screen at the same time unless it's a cutscene.
They are as the spoiler. I'm getting.
Well, right, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but
it'd be cool.
Yeah, I feel like it's most likely is to see like the Pyra's level 4 special, and maybe it could be one of those things where like her special is different depending on who you're using. Maybe it looks different if you're using Mithra or if you're using Pyra, right? And maybe you can switch between the two.
I think you would be able to switch between the two on the fly like you can in the game.
Yeah. So whoever you have switch.
Their own aspects.
Right, each final smash would be slightly different. So that raises an interesting question, though. What if characters have differing final smashes? So, like, I had this kind of running idea in my head that they would change. I mentioned earlier they change around the way the Smash Ball works, and they just make it kind of like specials, like other games. But maybe each character has 2 different specials. So, like, when you do power up your special, or maybe you can still hit the Smash Ball instead of just pressing B. What if you say press B and maybe down B or 4B depending on the character? Like, let's say Breath of the Wild Link, right? Like, maybe one like a super epic attack, right? But maybe another is like, for example, Mipha's Grace, where she heals you up, right? Maybe you can gain like 50% back life instead of doing a crazy attack, You would press like.
That could be cool.
Yeah, that could be a really cool idea, but I think when you do that, that kind of makes it more like other games and kind of takes away from the individuality that like the Smash Balls have as a mechanic.
I'm not sure if I don't know, because coming up with 2 final smashes for every character without them being too similar would be kind of interesting. And I don't think you would have to make it 2 final smashes. I think you could just make it do the same effect but look different for Pyra and
There
Mithra.
are already like a plethora of very unoriginal final smashes.
Right.
So, yeah.
True.
To add a second final smash for a character, I think they have to get really repetitive after a while.
You're right.
But kind of like arguing my point here, though, if you were to create 2 different smashes, like I said, maybe one is like down B instead of B to do something slightly different, by giving each character 2, a lot of characters will kind of share a similar final smash, or just feel kind of more like a reskin. By giving each character 2, they'll have more variety in that way, so it can mix things up more. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I'm not against the idea as long as they implement it well.
Yeah.
So how would you know which smash you'll use? Do you select pre-game or?
No.
It's all. It would my idea. It would be in game. So like example, like let's say Link's 2 final smashes in Breath of the Wild. Then the next Smash Brothers is Ancient Arrow, and the other is Mipha's Grace. Right, one heals her up, and the other one's just like an epic attack. Right, down B would be Mipha's Grace when you hit the Smash Ball. Right, and the other would just be the arrow you shoot. As an idea. It's a possibility, I think, but I don't know. Obviously that's like a completely different design change, and I have no idea what Sakurai's perspective is on the Smash Ball right now, if he wants to change it around or not.
I think that would be cool, and it would add the extra element. Like, they got the smash, but what are they gonna use? Like, and I don't think they all have to be healing. Like, some of them come
Yeah.
attacking. So you're like, I think it adds that extra element of, tactics there. So that could be cool if they implement it well.
Right. Well, like for go on, Wolf.
I was gonna say Brandon makes a really good point because like every time someone gets a smash ball, they're like, "Oh, that's not gonna work. I already know how to avoid it." Then you use the one they don't expect, and like Brandon says, it just
it's more mix-up options. So like maybe Mario could have one turn into a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and the other still be his giant fireball wave. Like that's
I think Odyssey is definitely getting a nod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mario's character is going to be slightly updated. I don't think it's going to be as different as Breath of the Wild Link, but, like, I think they're going to at least replace Flood for a Cappy move. At least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wondering what that move would be.
Cappy.
Yeah.
Well, okay, like how would it work?
Like, what would he do? Yeah.
Right, well, like, right.
What does he do?
No, I get it.
Right, I get it.
So, like, I feel like it would be a good side B move, and maybe how it would work is like you throw Cappy, right, and it becomes like either A, it can work as some people like the idea of possession, but I feel like that's kind of Kirby-ish in a way. I don't know if they would want to do that, but maybe they could do that where you possess. No, because then they can't function as a character, so I don't think that'd be a good idea. But like, what if like you can use it as a platform to jump on? And it's also an attack at the same
Could
time.
be a grab.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that could also.
And part grab, part recovery. That sounds great.
Yeah, and maybe they also give him the dive.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
There's
think
a lot of different options.
yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, Mario doesn't have that many sideway like jumping moves, unless I'm remembering it wrong. He doesn't, right? Like it's his midair jump. He has the cape, which gives him some lateral movement in the air, but basically, he's kind of reliant on more. He has more verticality than lateral movement. If by Cap, you could give him that lateral sort of movement, and I think it would work pretty well. And it could either work as a grab or just kind of like an attack,
I could see it being like sort of like Falco's reflector, where he just kicks it. Maybe I don't know.
Oh, maybe it could bounce back attacks. That'd be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it could be like multifaceted. One, like you could hold it there and use it to jump, right? You could also dive into it. Because if you hit it with someone, it does do damage, But the other option is that if you have it there, if someone throws another projectile at it, it bounces off. And then that would be the side B, and maybe the grab also is when you sort of possess them for like a quick moment because you grab them, and in that couple seconds they don't really have an option to do anything. That would be a really unique grab, actually. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, because it would be in the same vein as Donkey Kong's grab, where he holds you for a moment. So that
Yeah, it would.
that same element would work.
Yeah, so what if Mario's grab is no longer like a normal grab, right? But instead, he literally possesses them for like 2 or 3 seconds and can move around with them for a little bit. But you would then lose the ability to grapple, though, which is kind of a thing. But maybe they could change that to a special move.
But if you do control them, I feel like it'd be really easy to just shove them off. Like, and we're falling off the stage now to my death. So that could be a little overpowered, depending on how long you're able to use it for.
I think it'd be like as effective as Donkey Kong's little down grab. I think. Which grab is that? Where
It's a forward throw.
Forward throw. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
that's a very unorthodox grab where he
I
just
think it'd
holds
be a
you
little
and
more
just
effective than that. Like, if you're already at the edge and they grab you, they can just walk right off. Because when he throws you, you're immediately back in control. With this, if they throw you off a stage,
well, what they could do to balance it is that when it happens, they only make it like 2 seconds long. So if someone does do that, Mario's at a disadvantage when he gets out of the capture. Like, what if when you do that, when you get out of the capture, you have more of a downward momentum? So it scares people away from using that tactic too often because Mario becomes the more likely character to die than whoever you capture. If when you get out of the capture, you have like a downward momentum. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
that could work.
Right. I mean, that would I think it would balance that out, that ability, if you could do that.
Yeah, or if you suicide while capturing them, well, you just killed yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially.
Yeah. So the discussion's been going for a little while. So I'm gonna read through the chat, and then I mean, if you guys have any sort of final points or topics, because we're gonna be talking about Smash Bros. For a while, guys. So this isn't gonna be the last Smash Bros. Discussion, but. I just kind of want to. We're getting. It's 3 hours. Like, I gotta cut it soon at some point. I gotta eat.
Right. As soon as you said that, I realized I was hungry.
Yeah.
Humans need food.
No, impossible. So Phantasm Wolf. Oh, actually, Sun Gohan. I'm gonna read through this. So Sun Gohan was saying it'd be cool if instead of running it around trying to hit the Smash Ball, you can unleash it after surviving for a long time, fill a meter of damage in order to unleash it. Yeah, that's what I was kind of talking about. I wouldn't mind if they were to do it like that, if they were to balance out all the smashes, but that does take a lot of work. And some people, like you guys mentioned, it might take away a little bit from the originality of Smash. But I personally would be okay with it. I think it'd be cool. Phantasm Wolves, I guess, just put out kind of a character list. So Paper Mario, Waluigi, King K. Rool, Dixie Kong, Impa, Gooey, Decidueye, Machamp, Masked Man, Crystal, Samurai Goro, Rex, Takumaru, King Hippo, Isaac, Ridley, Excite Biker, Chibi Robo for Smash. That is a fantastic list of newcomers. I am pretty much down for all of those. I mean, I think that'd be a great list. What do you guys think?
I think it's a good list, but it's missing Andy from Advanced Wars.
Yeah.
Andy from Advanced Wars.
Andy's also my nickname, so I'd be down. Andy's a dope dude, man. He's OP.
Yeah. It's all I want. If Andy can get into this game, I will be happy with everything else. It's just that's the one guy I've wanted for so long.
Yeah, no, I would like to see him for sure. Actually, I kind of like what Phantasm Wolves' third-party character list, too. Knuckles, Tails, Shadow. Oh, yeah, he's a good option as well. Yeah, he said that there. Barman, Rayman, Shovel Knight, Crash, Simon Belmont. We talked about that earlier. And Banjo and Kazooie. Yeah, and he also said Sephiroth, as he pointed out, Will. Also Sora.
But I'm biased, though, because Sephiroth is just my favorite villain.
Sephiroth would be cool. The sword is heckin' long, though.
Well, I mean, if they announced Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to Switch this E3, maybe they could announce if they were to announce a third-party character like that, that'd be the timing.
They're just now hiring for that game.
I heard about that, but I feel like hirings could happen at different points of development. A hiring doesn't necessarily mean what kind of hire was it? Do we know exactly? I didn't look too.
It was the core hire, the people that are actually making the foundation for the game.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Actually, it will be episodic, so it could go a lot of ways. You're right, Andres. It's going to be an episodic game.
We'll see. Yeah.
They could do one part and then hire for the next part.
I think it's obvious it's been in development hell though, but maybe we'll be surprised at E3. Probably not, like we were saying. So. Mm-hmm.
It's a rare game. It's never coming out.
Yeah, we'll just get more ports, even though technically Final Fantasy VII Remake is it's a remake, but whatever.
I think we're gonna get it.
Yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy Remake basically is a new game, but it's using this. It has the same story of Final Fantasy VII originally, But just kind of to continue on the chat though. So Benjamin's asking, which character that was cut from any Smash game would you want to return? Trying to think of characters that were cut that I would want to return. We talked about Snake. I mean, Snake is Ice Climbers. I think if I had a priority list, Ice Climbers first. Snake and Wolf also would want to make a return.
I want Young Link, specifically where he can transform with using masks.
Oh, if they were to bring in Young Link as a separate new Zelda character, if they were to have those transforming characters again, that would be really cool. Yeah.
Good idea for that.
That would be awesome.
Homestuck Fact said, I don't think this would happen, but I would love to have Dave Strider from Homestruck. Well, you are a Homestruck fan.
I would like Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Never played that
Knuckles.
series.
I would like to see him versus Bayonetta. Would be, oh my god.
Yeah, it'd be crazy, right? It would be really interesting. And I could even see how they could have like a cutscene for that and how that would like work out, you know?
Right. Both of them are smartasses, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. A lot of people have talked about having a Rhythm Heaven character. That would be interesting. I can see how that could go. Benjamin's leaving. Have a good night, man. So, yeah, I think we got through most of the chat. Is there anything, or did I?
Somebody, Jeremy Bins asked, "Who do we main in Smash?" I main Toon Link usually.
Mario.
In Melee?
Depends on the game.
Yeah, it depends on the game. In Melee, it's Luigi. In Smash 4, it's Roy.
I've always had a particular proficiency with Link, even though he's always at the bottom of the tier list. But I don't think I'm good enough to really get too much into the tier list, though. So kind of, you know, maybe I'm trash in your opinion then. But I think most people aren't really good enough for the tier list to really matter. But yeah, I'm usually.
If I beat level 9 comms, I'm happy with myself.
Sometimes I struggle with that in Smash for Wii U. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Link I'm pretty good with. I'm really annoying to play against when I'm playing as Samus because I just roll around and projectile to your death and then shoulder bash you. I'm also pretty good with Mario. You know, I love how you can just kind of roll around and get smashes in. Aside from, I'm trying to think. I mean, there are other characters I like, but I don't know if I would say I'm good with them.
I didn't really. I can only speak about Smash Wii U because the other Smashes I never mained anyone. I just played as whoever the fuck I wanted to play as at the moment. So, like in Smash Wii U, I mained Toon Link, Fox, and I think Lucina. Those were my mains most of the time. There was I tried to main. Oh, I'm forgetting the guy's name from Punch Out.
Little Mac.
Little Mac, thank you. I made him for a bit, but not much. But those are my mains.
I'd say Mario, Bayonetta, and probably Ryu.
Okay.
Smash 4, I played Roy, Luigi, and Rob.
Nice. I really like using Roy as well. Roy is just so cool. He's such a...
Rob and Mega Man, I think, are my worst characters.
Roy is kind of broken in the right hands. I feel like.
I've heard he's not very high up in the tier list from some people, and other people I've heard he's broken. So I don't know what to think about him anymore.
Well, I mean, the game's gotten patched.
He's sort of broken too, the adult Link.
Why?
Yeah.
Because he is. Like, all of them are actually kind of broken. His forward smash, fully powered, that is...
Oh gosh. It's hard to hit, though.
He hits twice, and it's devastating.
It is. Yeah. When you get it off, it feels amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so satisfying. But yeah, that's definitely broken, I feel like.
It's hard to hit, though. I feel like it's pretty balanced.
And the boomerang kind of... If they're in the right hands, it will pull you up the stage with no hope for recovery. So, yeah, I feel like it's sort of like...
Any character that has, like, stuff that blows you is, like...
That item from Skyward Sword is evil.
Oh, I hate that thing.
Oh,
it's like an insta-kill. You can't do anything about it. The beetle, too. All the Skyward Sword items suck.
Yeah, I didn't like the beetle. Like, I mean...
you can't get away from it. If it gets you, you're just dead. And the other one...
Well, it's kind of easy.
Thing, almost
I missed the fan, bro. The fan was crazy. Like I don't know. I don't remember how well it was in Smash 4, but like for like Melee, like you could just fan for like 100%.
I'm talking about the Skyward Sword like leaf blower looking thing. I forget the name of. That thing was OP. You could just blow people right off, just insta kill them. It was ridiculous.
And it's not like a gentle blow that you could potentially recover from. If you get hit,
like,
you're flying.
You're gone. It was so dumb. I feel like that was more OP than the hammers. Like that was more OP than the golden freaking hammer.
So last thing before we with the end of tonight, because this has been running pretty long. Each of you guys, how about you give me like one item you would like to see in the next Smash Bros. Game?
An item?
Yeah, just an item.
I don't really.
Wait.
The runes from Breath of the Wild.
As like as an item, as a separate item, and not a part of Link.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess I didn't really give you too much time to think about it. My bad. But for me, I would like to see like at least some of the. Like, I feel like when I think about Link movesets, I feel like there's not really much room to make him use all the different weapons he had in Breath of the Wild, because you also have all of the power-ups and the runes and stuff. But, like, maybe some of those weapons could become items in the game, like perhaps like the giant boomerang, some of the two-handed swords. So I could see some Breath of the Wild weapons being thrown in as items in, next Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on new items here. Like concentration, full-on concentration mode. I can't think of anything.
You know how in
take it well.
you know how in Mario Odyssey how like you can ride the motorcycles?
Yeah. Oh.
That should be an item. Just everybody be able to ride a motorcycle.
The scooter, yeah.
This should be an item.
There should be a Korok item. You pick up a rock, and then the Korok comes out, and he's giant, and he's like the Snorlax, but like you just can't avoid him. He's like, yeah, ha, ha, and he just hits everyone.
That'd be funny.
Even you die.
Even you die.
The Korok kills you.
No, everyone turns into golden.
So like that would be interesting though. So like if you see a rock just randomly appear on the map, no one touches it because they know that there's a chance that it'll just screw everyone over.
Like Coco's.
Yeah.
Coco's.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting actually. That's not a bad idea. I'm trying to think of like another potential item. Like, there should be some Splatoon items.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, like maybe like the spider shot or like one of the, some of the like there's different weapons that could just easily be an item in Smash Brothers. Like there's so many, so that's another possibility.
Like the killer whale. Like,
yeah, that'd be so cool. I would love that.
A
Yeah.
lot of Splatoon 1 specials that were cut could be good items.
Right. Yeah, it'd be kind of a way to keep them relevant again because they're not in Splatoon 2. Yeah, I would like to see that. That would totally work. Good ideas, guys. So I'm gonna end the discussion now. Because it's been 3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but I didn't even realize it. Like when we started talking about Smash Brothers, I was like, oh. Like, I noticed we got to Smash Bros. Like about an hour and almost 10 minutes. And then I looked at the clock again. And it was like, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Wow. Obviously we like talking Smash. And I have the impression that we're not going to get as many constant updates about this Smash Bros. As we did other ones. Because the game's going to come out in less than 6 months probably. Like, we're about that amount of time. So we're not going to get as much leaked this time around. And I'm personally sort of hoping that there's a lot of secret characters and items and stuff and stages they won't know about until we get the game day one. So, because I kind of missed the Melee days where you had to unlock stuff and then find out new things instead of everything sort of been leaking, sort of trickling out day by day by day.
But you still have to unlock it even though you know it's there.
Right. But the thing is that other Smash Brothers were announced way ahead of time. This one's coming out this year. So they're probably not going to reveal everything by the time the game comes out.
Or at least have a more like effective way, not effective, but a more just a better way to unlock characters. Like I had to do a bunch of 100 like 100 matches in one stock against a character just to unlock Ganondorf.
Well, I think there should just be multiple ways to unlock each character. Like maybe the adventure mode that we talked about that could have like branching paths or something. That'd be really cool.
Like the character comes and affects the story, and then you fight him, and then you win it.
Right. That'd be way better.
Yeah, I liked how in Melee there were some ways that you could unlock characters that like if you beat adventure mode with a certain character with like 3 lives or less or something.
Yeah.
That's the idea I like.
Yeah, I want to see that kind of return for sure. So yeah, guys, I'm ending the discussion now. Thank you everyone for coming. Zach is back. I know I didn't get to any of your things, but I'm not even sure. Napalm.
I want to say, go on. I'm telling you guys, he told us to do a Smash-oriented podcast, and then Nintendo announced the direct. And then
Yeah.
Smash stuff.
Yeah.
Gohan,
He's
we need to keep Gohan.
Gohan
around.
knows.
Gohan's the leaker, bro. He knows everything. And
He's been
everything.
helping us.
Yeah. And Marty says Smash is life. Yeah. Smash is life. Yeah, but I mean, if you pre-order Smash, it says 12/31. That's just a placeholder. It's
Yeah.
coming earlier than
Someone
that.
told me that in class. They were like, "Oh, well, look at the day." I'm like, "Placeholder, dude."
Yeah, exactly. But
The 31st isn't even a Friday.
Alright.
yeah, normally they launch things on Fridays. True. So yeah, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming by. If you haven't already, please like this video. It really helps out. And check out Brandon and Will's channel if you haven't already. Check out their content. The links to their channels are in the description below. Pedro is Brandon's friend who came on and was great to talk to. He's obviously a Nintendo fan. Is there any place that you want people to check you out, Pedro?
I don't really have anywhere to check out yet. I plan to do stuff with YouTube in the future, but I mean, that's
In the
for
future.
another time.
All right, well, maybe we'll have you on again. And if people want to reach you, I'll just tell them to stalk you through Brandon.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, it was great talking to you. I hope you come back in the future, bro. It was fun.
Yeah,
All right,
great
everyone.
being here.
Cool. All right. Have a good night, everyone. See you later.